making history at CECC. And there it is! Both platforms online, and Dip will take it home.
What a game.
Take a victory lap, take a bow, and take the headsets off and start to yell.
Racers, are we ready?
Yes.
Are we ready for the Zip Chair Gaming Esports U 2023 Arlington Zip Chair commemorative race? I don't know why it's commemorative. It is now. They're going to race all the way down and all the way back. The first winner is the CECC May Madness Texas 2023 Zip Chair Racing Champion. In 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, Smooth cheated! Smooth cheated! That's a false start from Smooth, but he's actually still barely in the lead. Things looking a little bit rough, but it looks like Guac catches in. Tony swings in. Angela's so excited she threw her phone straight onto the ground. Smooth hurtling back. Earl's camera is probably going to get hit. Hold on. I'm here to play defense if we need it. Okay, we're good. Smooth catches it. Yeah, that's an immediate...
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Esports U. This is the CECC West Qualifier. It is the final match of the night. It's time for Valorant. This is Simon Fraser University, San Jose State University, going across borders to see who will make their way over to Arlington this summer. It is an exciting matchup, and I cannot wait because these teams have been at each other's throats all season, even all day. But before we get into that, my name is Carlos Savan, and joined by me is Hail Monkey Man, a man with a strong beard and even stronger calls.
You know, I try to make them as loud as I can to make up for my ineptitudes, but otherwise it has been a very intellectual bringing of minds together between Simon Fraser and San Jose, the Red Leaves and the Spartans. Los, we're looking at two teams that, like you just said, it is fated rivals. They can't keep but playing each other. They went through two separate BO5s over in CVAL land in that West qualifier, and they didn't, I mean, it went to game 5. I mean, come on. It went like 9 games out of the 10 that could have been played, and I feel like this is going to be a very deep West CECC regional to be able to, I guess, just see all the talent that they have left. What is there left to be seen?
I mean, we have one best of 3 here tonight, and I am beyond excited because Simon Fraser, they have been going on an absolute tear against San Jose, and I think 3 out of the 4 last matches that they've had against that squad, they've won. They've only won a previous winners qualifier or upper bracket finals, and that's only got them into a grand finals that they then lost to Simon Fraser earlier today in a BO5 that went the distance. Every time that these two teams have come up against each other when it truly matters, whether it's CVAL West in fall, winter earlier, it's always going to be SFU standing on top, but this is one that truly matters here for CECC. Can they get into Arlington? This is like the #1 match of all matches that they've had previously because it gets them on land.
Everything else was just a precursor, simply to getting themselves a ticket punched. And you don't want to have to rely on an LCQ. LCQs are really cool, but that's where everyone else ends up being. And so you want to make sure that you're there with your golden ticket, getting those amazing suites and already waiting for your airplane while everyone else is having to sweat it out. But how about we see our components, our opponents, our foes, our players they'll be showcasing tonight. Let's check out the rosters that will be here for Simon Fraser as well as for San Jose State, the Red Leaves, and of course the Spartans. And of course, starting things off first, Simon Fraser. You're gonna have Kaho, Slayer, Superglow, and Super Stu, and Kane. Stu knows how to be an absolute savant, really guiding this team from the back.
Yeah, no. When it comes to anchoring a team, anchoring a squad, bringing a site down, that's where we're going to have Stu come in. Their defensive plays and capabilities when it comes to smokes, and sometimes they'll drop a little senti action, maybe, but when it comes to their defensive capabilities, they are unstoppable. It is truly a testament to see how well they can hold down sites and go in for retake actions. Another player that I think is really solid and consistent, who you are always going to find in the upper echelons of the leaderboards across different matches, it's got to be Kane. You could definitely rely on this player. That's the initiator, and sometimes they'll bring in a little bit of Sage action. 2 players that you definitely want to keep your eye on in this upcoming one from SFU. Now we can take a look over at San Jose. And one player I think that we definitely want to check out has got to be Cade.
Oh, yeah. Cade was an absolute menace, especially when we got to see them on Split when it came to some CVAL West action. And I think that they're going to be consistently the thorn in the side of this Simon Fraser group. They're the ones that are going to really kind of pop off with a lot of that Slayer-type potential. But they're also going to be relying on the survivability that is John Hamm. John Hamm, for some reason, just refuses to die. So I can see that maybe being a bit of a joke, but also a longevity type of thing. But, you know, going to see how everyone can really revolve around Cade to go into it. But talking about maps a little bit, let's go into what this best of 3's makeup and identity is in fact going to be. We talked about it in the green room. This one is a little bit spicy because there's some unknowns on the board.
Yeah, that unknown, I am so surprised we're actually going to be seeing that. That's Sunset all the way at the other side of the series. Sunset has only been played twice by the 2 of these teams. And both of those times, it was San Jose. Simon Fraser have never played an official on Sunset, so I don't know how this even ended up in the mix, but I'm beyond excited and very excited to see if we actually get to there. In anticipation, is filling me to the brim, Monkey Man. But first off, we got to talk Breeze. That's a much more favored map, I would say, for Simon Fraser. So interesting to see that we're going to jump onto that one right off the get-go. And following that up, I mean, I'm just curious to see where we begin here on Breeze, because I also want to look at John Hamm, the Smokes player that you mentioned. They're a much more proactive, aggressive, attacking type of controller rather than what you see from Stu, who really can lay back, chill, and then hold their sight. Now, getting onto the site, I think, is the most important thing here on Breeze. It is sometimes a very difficult way to break through, whether it's on A site, getting through double doors, as well as A main, or anything that you need, especially since both squads are relying on those controllers to hold everything down, just the one Viper, and you get some cyber cages from Yuri and Glow. But other than that, if you lose either of these players, it could be incredibly detrimental to their strategies.
It really can, and especially because you see the key makeup difference here is that double duelist of Khan as well as Cade that are hanging out on the Reyna, as well as Cade going over to that Jet. But opposite of that, you're going to see a doubles entry for the initiator of Slayer onto that KO. They really want to shut down some of these situations, and they've been practicing the lineups as well as just being able to figure out where in the world a Cypher's going to be, because they're probably going to be hanging out on B just behind that big tower. But yeah, Stu, I think, definitely fits right there as a battlefield commander, really kind of commands the troops where they want to push hard into sight, run it through cave, hit double doors, or be able to just simply control the middle of Breeze, which then becomes an aim gamer's arcade zone, if you will. So gonna see how these guys can really run it down from the front, and Simon Fraser is gonna have first looks. I still beg the question, because I feel like even with them kind of closing off a bit of mid, this becomes a little bit tougher to move into B, into A. So the attack, you can overwhelm them with numbers, but it's basically defensive paradise at times, and then you can just funnel them into sites.
Well, no more theorizing. Time to get things started. This has been a long time coming, not specifically between all of the previous matches between these two teams, but the fact that we have seen this team just run down a best of 5. They had a few hours of respite, and now they're getting right back into the server. I've mentioned this previously, how when you're in the game, when you're competing at a high level for such a consistent amount of time, and not where scrims where you could try out new things and maybe there isn't as great a stakes as you would normally find when it comes to competition. This is full on, we have to give it our all no matter what happens, and that can be incredibly draining, but we're just getting started, so these teams need to really freshen up if they want to get their way over to Arlington. We're kicking things off in just a few. It's Breeze, it's CECC West.
Who's going to be punching that first ticket? They've all got a chance at it, but the top two here are going to have the last looks before LCQ could be in the very near future. Simon Fraser have been very patient about how they've been able to receive the Spartans, and obviously we've seen some of the changes as well that have really been highlighted going into this map. Obviously this tunnel has been opened up, which has allowed a lot more for these proactive duels. It gives you a chance to kind of rotate down and mid, but you see how they're looking to receive an aggressive defense, but Los, no biting right now as everyone's kind of staying disciplined to their back end positions.
I like the grouping up that we're finding from San Jose. Originally, when there was a look over from Cajo, I believe, dipping back and forth behind that one splitter over on Halls, there was 3 players looking down Halls. And we find that setup again. They're not leaving this to a chance for a one-up, but now it's time to make their way through. The wall's up. They can make their way easily. No one's going to stop them. It's all going to be spams, but Slayer wants a bit more than spam. Slayer wants a kill.
Slayer trying to divide and conquer between both of the pyramids. They're getting the call out that one is up on stairs, and everyone just trying to bumble in from backside yellow. So Slayer is getting big call outs as they do put that scan, and everyone's basically identified here on right pyramid, looking to run away with their life as the decay is coming through. Why Hurry is trying to hurry on down, and they're quickly accelerating, trying to get back to that bomb site, and it's gonna become a 3v4, and Simon Fraser is holding strong in cave.
Cade going for a heroic play that does not pay dividends. Only will get one before they fall. a very interesting and patient beginning from Simon Fraser. The fact that the spike was planted and all 10 players were still alive to tell the tale, but it comes down to Kane and Glow locking it down in the post plant. Not a real chance given to San Jose. They were constantly behind the toxic screen, and I guess that could be a consequence of them sticking together by bridge, by the staircase over in back A, that they didn't have a forward placement, a real foothold to stop Simon from even walking in.
Yeah, and I feel like that one is also the same byproduct. You have to deal with kind of the anti-lurk that's set up because of these ciphers. You know you're going to have those tripwires, and so we want to just have numbers v numbers going into some of these big pistol rounds. Cade is going to back on up and get that tailwind ready to see if Kane wants to go and kind of run up against them, but the escape route now will simply swish to a close as they have to retreat all the way back to on site. And we're leaning into B even more as Cade actually finds a great pick, and now the defense is standing strong for the Spartans.
Oh, this is an absolute mess. It's Kaho not even having an opportunity to take a shot. Cade, the Sheriff champion, the sharpshooter, potentially shooting through that stone wall might make a difference, but no, it's a Thrifty. The Sheriffs, the pistols especially coming out from Y Hurry over in Nest, that ruined the opportunities of a great pinch. It had the great opportunity to get things started as Simon Fraser, they had mid control, but they got a little too carried away with themselves, or maybe too slow, and didn't press the issue by fully collapsing onto B site, giving an opportunity, specifically from Khan, to take some shots from double doors.
And that was a Vandal that was also bought in from round 1 to 2. That's one of those question mark all chat type situations, and that traded hands, which means things are a lot more rough for the side of Simon Fraser, who go into this maybe with a couple of pistols, Sheriffs and galore. Kaho will get a great first pick on Kahim, and that's honestly something that really spelt the difference last time. Cade stood their ground on B site and really never let anyone come through, but now they've lurked all the way up into mid. They see at least one. They're gonna try and find this swing by Super Stu. It's just a trade of blows. Who's better in the Wild West with these Sheriffs?
Stu wants a bit more. Khan also hungry for a kill, but ultimately they will fall as well. That Snakebite, I believe, gave that vulnerability, causes them to fall instantaneously. And now San Jose, they've evened the odds as John Hamm secured a kill and won't allow anyone from Simon Fraser to break onto A site. They have to hold it down right here and now, but being caught by that recon dart isn't going to make them feel too good.
Oh, wow. Okay. As soon as the top screen went up, their life went down in a hurry. Kane already on top bridge, and they're looking for a chance. They're going to run it down tunnel, and they know for a fact at least that there's at least one man kind of lurking around. They don't know if they're double doors or otherwise. Why hurry just up under here? As it's been kind of this sleuthy situation out in cave, but it looks like they're actually going to be taking the long vacation. Maybe to go over, stick with A. Do they want to rotate B? They got about 15 seconds. It's going to be just an A strike, and they've got to get that bomb plant down. They have no idea where Why Hurry is, but now they do.
Great arrow to keep that information in line, but it's all about distraction. Glow did their job by securing that plant, allowed them to have time, but Why Hurry answers it with ease. A beautiful shot onto Kane. Unfortunately, being that distracting effort, Glow forced it into a 1v1, and Kane simply wasn't able to stack up against it. Why Hurry saving that round? Desperately needed that win to keep the economy flowing. More rifles still going to be in the hands of San Jose, but Simon Fraser not too worried about it. They got some cash flow ready to go, and the first ultimate is coming out of Kane with that Hunter's Fury if he decides to use it to pop things off coming into this next round.
And that'll be really impactful, especially if they work around some of these lineups that you know are in their repertoire. Stu not quite at the Viper Pit just yet, but there was a lot of guns that hit the floor, Los. I mean, you had all rifles from the side of the Spartans, and Simon Fraser, they were able to be just as effective, nearly a Thrifty, much the same way. They're going to use that same lineup that you actually just saw the throw up. They're going to try and get rid of the tripwire that would immediately keep them from being able to enter into B site. And they're just crashing through, but what a great pickup anyway. Why hurry? They'll get spammed out, but that's a big trade either way.
Now Kane setting down the spike. They do have temporary control, but once that toxic screen falls down, then they're going to be in a world of hurt, because that is a great confirmation of at least 3 players off that recon arrow. It doesn't matter. Kane comes out for 1. Slayer will support from Maine, and it all comes down to John Hamm in a 1v2, but they'll slide onto site. I think before the expectation, but Stu knew exactly what was going down. Couldn't allow a single second for John Hamm to have a good opportunity to turn this into a 1v1. You can never allow the isolation to kick in because that's how San Jose won the previous round. Simon Fraser not going to let it happen again, so we're back to a 2v2.
San Jose, you got to think in the back of their heads, back of their minds, they really kind of think about how often they've played against Simon Fraser and how often Simon Fraser has come out the better. It feels like you constantly are having to play against this team that knows you, maybe as well as maybe you know yourself, or maybe even more. And so you have to get around them some way or form. We're going to have immediate snake bite put out to see if anyone's lurking up. That's also going to be a 0-point knife. That's going to neutralize Khan and all of those versatile Reyna abilities. They're going to have at least a couple of quick peeks. And they're going to actually pop this Empress. As that scan comes out, they don't want to be anywhere near that talk screen. The Lear coming away, and Khan just ready to burst through. But they are so ready for this incursion, and they just cannot get at least an immediate push as they face off in a 1v2. Oh, man, you have a couple of Hunter's Fury's shots just going out.
Huge pickup from Khan. Now they can get the overheal. They were in a world of hurt, especially with the vulnerability, but now it's up to Kaho to try and escape. It's a 1v2. Both players are coming from Maine. Kaho has no chance. The numbers work out in favor of the defenders. Big props to Khan to be able to survive that one. The amount of pressure that was being placed on this Reyna was unbelievable. The vulnerability, the need to try and swing to stop the players from Simon Fraser to break out onto site, the activation of the Reyna, of the Empress, the recon arrow. Everything was put in place for this to be an absolute failure for Khan, but they were able to survive, and with barely any bullets used at all, just a few taps to get those resurgences of heals, and they were able to stick it out a long enough time for Cade to come and support from Maine.
Such a good idea by Khan as well. Oh, but the Blade Storm getting popped, and Kahim is immediately going to lay Kaho out. As much as we can sing those praises, we're going to be talking about even more. They're going to use that Dismiss to go all the way around. They're going to use that Lear as well to get all the blindness put up. And this was a quick, flawless round. Kahim comes away with a 3K. Simon Fraser basically took a nap.
Yeah, what a wonderful bait and switch from Kahim there. Khan using that Dismiss to slide over, and the player over on mid expecting a re-peek from Khan, but rather it's Kahim just popping out from double doors. Completely unexpected. Beautiful work in tandem, and now we're back with Simon Fraser. Here with the rifles, not exactly a whole lot else, though. Half shields for Glow and Kane, but they do have the Viper's Pit, so if they can at least get onto site, they'll be working with something. But if they can't do anything this round, they're going to have to be forced back onto an eco, and it's going to be a real problem, and Cade made that problem even more frustrating.
Cade diffing Kaho right now, who has had to take a dirt nap at the beginning of these rounds, now the last two, and that's not where you want to have your Jet. They want to be slicing and dicing around Breeze as often as they can and really imply some of this pressure. But this defense now is getting very confident here for the Spartans. Though they have mid kind of alignment here, you're not really seeing them controlling. They're looking for maybe a counter pick if they can. The San Jose has had at least a couple of numbers here on A, and you see Khan very confidently rotating in. They're going to use that Lear, and because they hear that, you see Kane in a soft retreat as they don't know what to do, maybe spinning around this elbow.
Nice look from Khan. Kahim on the watch from mid, but Khan, they're good for one. Realize there's a second take to Dismiss just for the information, and they'll back off. Potentially another bait and switch from Kahim, but they understand someone might be rotating, and Slayer has been caught but not killed.
One at a time. Simon Fraser losing player after player, and they have two tripwires they have to work through. This one's all of a decoy, but it's also going to be a forced push. And you see the rotation already happening from A over to B, and they have about 20 seconds, and this spike is primed to go to B. So Kane gonna throw a recon dart, see if they can at least get a scan out and see if they can go for some of these quick rotations. They don't see it out from their corner. That's a wallbang headshot. Cade finds a third, and that's gonna be a quad here in round 7. Oh, it's so spicy here from Cade.
San Jose having a great day so far. A welcome start. Welcome change of pace. 3 in a row for them now. And Cade is on fire as it stands. Exactly the person that we said you need to pay attention to when we're talking about San Jose State. And the general air that I'm feeling from SJSU is unfazed. They do not feel the pressure on them at all. They are simply rocking. They are having calm movements. They aren't forcing out rotations. They understand if we need to rotate, we'll know when we need to rotate. We're not buying anything, but Game's going to need to buy a full new kit after that loss. But K, not too far behind, so a trade is there, but there's still problems over on A main.
I was wondering when we were going to play this audible. I love going through Iron Hallway here to have to run our way through. John Hamm is immediately going to take away the chance, but that one was all of an inevitable decision already made by Simon Fraser. They gave away that first idea, especially when they found a couple of big picks, and those were found at the end of that big long hallway. So now down to just 3 defenders. This is mostly a thrifty position here for Simon Fraser. Kaho is going to put out a couple cloudbursts and then go for this duel. Why hurry? Calling over the reserves, as they're just going to hold it down from this box position. They know at least where one is sitting in corner, and they're getting all 3 situated. Or they'd be able to spin out, but the Viper's Pit is down.
Solid activation of that Cyber Cage. Now it's going to be Glow's able to return with the rest of the team, and this is all Simon Fraser's game to lose. Why hurry and John Hamm closing things down. The Viper's Pit won't fall yet, but soon Stu will, and they have, in fact, such a major commitment coming out of Simon Fraser, and they still aren't able to make it. Actually, no, not quite a commitment, because this was generally a thrifty round, but they got so far. The only major commitment is going to be coming out of that Viper's Pit, which Stu had been sitting on for a little bit, but even so, they needed any opportunity to try and break through, and it was close, but simply not enough. San Jose State, they can so easily pick apart Simon Fraser, and maybe there's just not correct angles being watched for each other. Not many trades coming through from Simon Fraser, but San Jose, they always seem to be watching each other's back, and if one falls, you can be damn well sure that one of the attackers is going to join them.
No one's really unseated Why Hurry either. He has been able to just kind of chill here on B, do amazing work, and Cade has been able to kind of... Cade and Khan, free-flowing from side to side. Khan a lot more from A to mid, and Cade from B to mid. That's actually great disciplined position control between both of these duelists, being very effective across this entire map, and very lethal how they need to be, but also just allowing their Cypher to kind of just chill, rock out. So now it's up to Simon Fraser. They found those big picks. They were trying to turn that into a thrifty round. Both Viper Pits got used, and you do have a null command. Now, it's going to be kind of far-reaching, depends on what they want to shut down. They could actually crash B if they wanted to, and that's where that spike is lended into that elbow, but I think they're also looking for this defense to get a tiny bit aggressive.
It's a toxic screen, potentially going to give commitments, and that was a big commitment from Slayer. It's not going to mean much, though, because the real attack is over on B site. Tripwire's still here, but there's no sign of Why Hurry, so this is the best bet for Simon Fraser to get this spike down, but now you've got a bigger problem. It's the Hunter's Fury, and potentially Kahim is going to secure a kill with it? No, only delay of the plant, but even so, that's still a big deal.
Ton of damage, at least. Kaho with this operator has at least 3 on back end. They do have that Neural Theft now online. Gotta wait for that Cyber Cage to drop, and you actually have out in mid some extra pressure as a big op shot does go through, and Stu and Glow and more are just cleaning it up here on B. Finally able to stop the dry spell as the Red Leaves are able to at least get 1. They've got 3 in a row if they want to tie up this first half.
Things looked quite rough when Slayer first fell over on A main, especially with that null command, but it was a good enough look that we saw Why Hurry actually in the midst of a rotation. The fact that Why Hurry has been unseated, even though it isn't exactly via a kill, it's still quite important, because as we were saying, if you can't get Why Hurry out of that pit, if you can't get them outside of B site, you're going to have a very hard time taking it in the first place. But well done by Simon Fraser. Now we have a look up mid.
Cade now trying to counter up from this topside nest position, and that's going to be very difficult. Slayer had that early job, much like you get kind of on a scent for Killjoys using a decoy ultimate. They did the same thing for that null command. But Khan and Kaho now getting Khan straight out of the way with big trades across, and it looks like they may be propositioning themselves for A. and actually just kind of using their crystal ball, recognize, you know what? Mid seems a bit too uncontested. Let's go to a more tight area to rotate through.
Cajo. Shot one and done. Thought they would have the snipe, but it was actually Cade here with the operator. And they have the opportunity to get a whole lot more. 0 point activated on the pyramids. Cade blinded off that flash drive, has the tailwind activated, potentially a shot through, and it's going to be on Glow. Knows one's quicker, goes for the quick scope, doesn't make a connection, but they're still in this fight. Another off of Cade, and Slayer is all alone, and they will fall as well. 4 off of Cade with the operator. No one can even step foot and plant that spike over on A site. Incredible stuff.
Disgusting. Cade right now at 15 and 4, nearly a 5.0 KD, as they also have their ultimate alongside Khan. And you know what? They recognize that they didn't have Khan lurking around mid tower, which is where a lot of that pressure initially had been coming in a succession of rounds. And so realizing that there was also a pretty large bank in Cade's back pocket, they knew a power weapon was out there. Well, Cade adjusted. They rotated right on top of them as they went and shifted over to A. It was a great read. And now they worked their way in through the first 10 rounds. And SJSU will have no less than at least a 7-5, depending on what Simon Fraser wants to do. And they've kind of buried themselves up here into a B situation. Let's see what they can kind of bust out with. Cloudburst down. They're going to rush it on.
Here's a set piece, flash drives to do everything it needs to. Forces Y-Hurry behind that half wall. And no one is going to be caught out. Slayer actually with a wonderful shot after the activation of that Owl drone. Realization, Khan's behind. But Khan will still get one, even though there was a flank watch.
Khan's going to try and re-engage. They actually do have the Impress. They do get caught on that trapwire, and that was all of a decoy as well. Slayer trying to be able to put the fragment out, and they have a lot of blaze, but they shove those knives straight back into the kitchen drawer. Slayer's going to try and run away and get back with his teammates, and yet they still die as Khan was hunting their head the entire time. This may be a get in, get out, get on with your life situation, especially as now they're right behind the box. Glow is going to just spin on them, and they're going to be able to get that 3K finished off. Good looks here as the last round of the first half coming up, and Simon Fraser able to at least get another one on the board.
Huge play from Slayer, someone that has needed to step up for Simon Fraser. But them surviving, simply getting the kill on Cade, it had that idea in the mind of San Jose that Halls, or at least Connector, has to be cleared because that was the angle. That was checked by Cade. No one has to be in there. Elbow was the real threat. So worry about that. That player's dead. All good. Once they killed Slayer, coming outside of Connector, they had no idea that Glow was going to be there, allowing for easy leg-up kills to stop that defusal.
They knew that Slayer would try to at least continue to peek at him. Oh, but this is a duel of ops. You're going to see Kane maybe take a step too far. Cade has recognized that, and that's where the outdrone is coming up. Oh, but it was all of a crapshoot as they're able to take down one. Kahim will drop as well, and this defense is now less for 2, making a third. Kaho finding another one. They basically have a free lane up. You have only one way back, and of course your Cypher holding B, but A is just completely free.
And another fake out. Simon Fraser headed over to A site. John Hamm over in Halls will be spotted out, so they have an idea someone is nearby. Opening the doors, just inviting madness, but they are crazy themselves. John Hamm with the quick 2, and this just became a doable round, a 2v3, but the op is the main priority. If John Hamm can somehow close the gap, close the distance, and allow Y-Hurry to get involved in this situation, they need to make a move. It's the last round of the half. There is no saving, but the main issue is going to be Glow sitting inside of double doors. They must know, and they know in the worst way possible. Y-Hurry falls. John Hamm turns it into a 1v2. It has to be the ace. It's gotta be the Viper's Pit to close things out, but will they even have the chance? No chance in turn. Slayer with the nade closes things out.
Way too much AoE util to walk through, and I do like the gutsy call, throwing down your Viper Pit. Why not? It's the very last round of the first half. You don't want to go from that to this next half with an ult unused, but still, it was a great rotation, and those early picks so pivotal, especially for the side of Simon Fraser, Kaho, and Kane, just laying down some pain. So we flip it on around. So we kind of look into this here, Los, and double duelist. I feel like that's gonna be a great composition here to really enforce a lot of pressure. Khan can bring that, but I feel like Slayer, this could be their half to shine, considering how much that they can shut down with that 0-point knife.
Slayer, often an entry fragger, opting for the KO this time around, needs to simply focus on setting up flashes for the rest of the team, setting up kill opportunities. They may not be the Slayer themselves, but they simply need to be alive to get that utility to the maximum potential. And I think on defense, that'll be the perfect opportunity. But here, we're talking about perfect opportunities. Not a single soul is over on B side, but SJSU still needs to figure that out for themselves, as everyone from Simon Fraser kind of playing it back. But potentially with Kaho on the flank, you could have some trouble.
I'm wondering if they're going to expect this Viper hanging out just at corner of mid, because they actually throw the talk screen very deep to just control Nest. So John Hamm is going to be playing Sentry Watch here for mid, wherever they may be coming from. As they get found out, will they win this duel? No. Kaho, just as soon as that talk screen does arrive, now is able to render it useless. Khan is going to bury themselves deep. They win one duel, they're going to get the Devour, and now the Dismiss, but no, they get put straight to the floor. Why hurry? Trying to hold this tight corner. They do get a dink, but it's going to be a 1v3, and the numbers game is tough. Simon Fraser win the first pistol, and that's great looks for them, because the Red Leaves need this to be able to tie up, maybe go into the second.
Yeah, great stuff to set them here for the anti-eco, so it certainly should be, and I will say this now, should be the equalizing round for Simon Fraser. But something that came through from SJSU is, I think that was a bit of a major overheat off of Khan, getting way too ahead of themselves to take those fights. Also, who could have expected Stu to come out with a two-piece like that off the Classic? Not what you would expect, but if you have that, the knowledge that there's a right click right around the corner, and your team needs to play that post plant, you want to make sure you're sticking with the squad. That's what they did so well on the defensive half that gave them the real opportunities for victory, sticking together. But Khan kind of showcasing a lesson not learned and kept from the last half.
Yeah, and Kaho giving us a quick lesson as to what and how impactful this Outlaw is going to be. Absolutely 0 shields right now for the Spartans, and they've got a 140 damage bullet with someone's name written already on it. They're going to quickly scribble it as they send it out. But Simon Fraser taking care of business. Oh man, quick triple tap there by Kane. And one after another, these Spartans are falling. Cade straight up in this Iron Hall, as they do have that Tailwind active and online for anyone that wants to go and find them. But they pretty much know that there's 2 isolated fights just hanging around either mid. Well, there's the first. And then this last one, that's the second. Kaho will grab a 2K there. And that's a nice flawless round. And like you said, we did get ourselves to a tie.
Well done from Simon Fraser. Definitely a big hit that they took with that 4-round run from San Jose. No longer that major of an issue now that they're here on the defense. And someone that I mentioned in the previous, or at least in the pre-show, was Stu. The defensive plays coming out of this player, that's what we need. That's their bread and butter. And we may see a masterclass if Simon Fraser actually have that head-to-head. But I can understand San Jose would never, even a million years ahead, in their wildest dreams, would they want to attack a site with Viper and Cypher on the same place. Ugh!
No, thank you. Talk screen and tripwires and headaches, oh my. I don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with that. Kane, well, they're going to have to be taken down by Khan, who is immediately traded by Kaho, who is also skipped out by Kahim. Slayer right around this corner, but it's going to be Kahim that takes out Slayer. So swiftly does Simon and Fraser see themselves falling. This bonus looking weaker and weaker by the second as San Jose is going to take over here onto B. Now, they haven't cleared any of this util, but just get rid of the Cypher forehead, and that's harder or easier said than done, as Superglow at least gets one, but why hurry now forms this into a 3v1.
Here's the moment. I mean, it's what we were talking about. It's Stu here for the retake. Good for one, but simply was not going to happen. The numbers were far too great and the situation far too poor. San Jose bring it back, keep their lead when it comes to the bonus, but now it's the true rifle round, and Kaho has got the operator. I mean, we saw some great looks previously when Kaho had the op over on attack. But when it comes to who has the scope's supremacy, I would say Cade. Here, Rocket with the Vandal, though, no full shields. I don't think that's going to be too big of a duel, too much of a worry on the brains of the defending team, SFU.
Immediately supported, though, by having that knife go out. They've been pressuring this A cave situation far more often than not. You're going to have them actually rotate into that flank position, but this is going to go straight up from B. As Khan is just going to play his insurgency. How deep is Super Glow? Oh my goodness! Double haymaker to the temple. They're trying for a third swing. Not to happen as John Hamm will render them lifeless. But that's going to be another one as John Hamm gets him off the swing. Super Stu, good for 2. And they do down check into Cade. It becomes a 3v1. And Simon Fraser in an absolute powerful position as Kaho eventually makes their way outside of main. And they're going to take this one. Wow. What a haymaker there by Glow.
So we were just talking about why you don't walk onto a site with a Cypher and a Viper. Who steps up? The Super Twins, Glow and Stu. No problem for either of these players. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful lineups, really. Glow had it made in the shade with that lineup to take down 2. And SJSU is going to certainly think twice before they do that again, but they've also been conditioned, or at least SFU have been conditioning, to send out a immediate 0 point over into A main, but this is the one time that they don't do it for an immediate check. Finally comes through, but too little too late.
I feel like that was supposed to go to the cave entrance. But otherwise, it will not get used up. Slayer is having a lot of numbers forced against them, and they're going to be absolutely just outbodied. The Blaze Storm, Kaho with 3! Shucking steak knives, and the meat of San Jose will do. Kaho waiting them out. It's a 2v1. All of a sudden, this entire thing is spun on its head. They're going to use that neural theft. They are separated from the spike, and they at least have a weapon in hand, as Simon Fraser have to now face against a very angry Cypher, as Why Hurry contends to hurry, and that owl drone will be able to tag them. So, do you walk away with this weapon? You have to fight into 2 long-range battles. Los, it's kind of an unwinnable feature.
That's exactly what they would want you to think, Monkey Man. That's exactly what Simon Fraser wants Why Hurry to think. But if one fight can be isolated and I'm just gonna stop.
I mean, you were right. No, I dig it. I dig it. It's the
If
hero
one
story.
fight could have been isolated and you get that into a 1v1, there was equal opportunity for either player to step away, and that was a save round. So what you want to do is just say, screw it, we ball here at San Jose State. That's what we do. And Why Hurry tries just to take more weapons away. You remove the operator from a Jet's hands, that's exactly the best case scenario if you're not going to get the plant. Deal as much damage as you can. Unfortunately, Why Hurry wasn't able to deal a bit more, but still a good showing considering they were just on pistols.
I love the trust that they had in Kane as well, because they handed off that operator to be able to get that Blaze Storm online. That's going to be a great first pick here for Kaho, who may be able to be downhill running. Momentum now for Simon Fraser. This was their map pick. And on the other side of this, map 2 is going to be split, which they, in recency bias, did not do so well against San Jose. So they want to grab this first one if they want to have all that momentum. Khan trying to hide. Owl Drone will tattletale, and they're going to have to back up.
This is a problem here. It's Kaho right above. Kaho doesn't want to check because guess what? John Hamm is watching from mid-wall, and that's a problem. Op lost, mid-control, snatched away, and San Jose have all the opportunities, all the options in the world, but they're going to go over to A site. Slayer back behind bridge. That's going to be the big obstacle for them to overcome, but I think Khan is going to play it safe and catch the rotations.
Stu in a 1v1 as he takes out Why Hurry. So there's not going to be any extra support. This bomb will make its way over into Pyramid, but because Stu is called out, they know that if they swing into this, they're going straight into some sights. Oh, one more. Stu to Kahim. Khan gets rid of Kane, and that's going to be a nice blind spray. They're going to try and navigate around this Viper pit. Viper be Viper, right around the corner. John Hamm gets to Stu just as the defuse was popping off. They played that Viper pit very far away from the spike, and they thought, oh, what are you doing? He was like, no, this is where I get to hide.
Man, John Hamm coming out with that victory. That was almost about to be a Viper diff of this century, but no. Stu, though they got great picks and a great flank coming out of Hollis to catch out Why Hurry, it was not enough. All that matters is coming out with the victory. The commitment, I almost thought for a moment, are we going to have a dueling Vipers pit coming out of Stu?
I thought.
Thankfully, that did not happen. So there's still plenty of utility. 3 ultimates at the ready for Simon Fraser. And they're looking at mid-control this time. They lost it last round. They're not losing it again.
Layered Viper Pits is my favorite ult stacking to do. Everyone's at 1 HP, and it's just about who gets that shot off first. Right click of the sentry. They're going to throw out the Owl Drone and a Lear just to be able to tag anyone if they can. They did prioritize getting the Blaze Storm up, and so Cade will have that. Right now they're going to leap over that Snake Bite and over any of these trap wires, so they're deep into this corner. They're recognizing that, and now they're actually forcing the Cypher into a bad situation. Glow is caught out, as now you have this Hunter's Fury putting out some damage down lane, and this is a full takeover by the Spartans.
Hunter's Fury in response, but I think it actually was canceled based off that 0 point, or maybe I'm crazy. No, that was their own. It all comes down to Slayer to try and build support to allow Kaho to come through. But all those commitments, all those ultimates, always allow San Jose State to come through with a massive advantage. 4-on-1. And every round, it feels like Simon Fraser, they're clawing back. They're trying to equalize. They're not done yet. It's always the back and forth. 2-1 and 2-2. San Jose trying to make this a third. Simply solidify a stronger lead. And this is the opportunity, Monkey Man, because it's back to pistols for Simon Fraser.
We've seen very effective thrifties here, though, Los. We've been able to see Marshals do well. They've narrowed some space for Sheriffs to still find their mark. Stu and Glow, they do have the Neural Theft as well as that. Oh my goodness, the quick spike now by Kaho as they just kind of go out there looking for a push. And that's exactly the kind of play they've been keying up this entire time. But it's about being able to hit your shots right now. Simon Fraser, they've been able to deal out some damage. The Viper's Pit is actually used in earnest as Stu is just navigating here on B main.
Stu playing exactly what you need to as a Viper when you got the pit. Send out the pit. Send out the snake bites. Oh no, but it falls! They lose control of the pit, and now instantaneously John Hamm strikes down a third. And control is lost from Simon Fraser. They didn't have much going into it, but they got a whole lot less leaving it. Another plant for San Jose. 2 more, and they will be walking out with Breeze of a victory.
Oh, you got a feel right there for Stu. They walked back into their Viper Pit just as the timer went off. And it goes by so fast. You lose the gas integrity on that ultimate so much faster than you used to. And, you know, sometimes it just, all the pressure gets away. You don't know if anyone's hanging out inside of it. But right now, this is now going to be the turning point. Because if Simon Fraser doesn't find good purchase here in this round, well, San Jose can basically walk away with this initial situation. Especially where Breeze could be a big decider working itself into split. That tailwind online and now used up, but they're still aiming it down into A main, but this spike is traveling in opposite.
Mid control. Completely left to San Jose. No one taking a look. No one wants to. It's all about being grouped up for SFU. The only player here is that lone Cypher. But now, reinforcements are coming. It's going to be a 5v5 retake.
Full crush rush. They got to get a pick, and they know they have to work through this toxic screen. That's why the Owl Drone is getting utilized. See if they can be able to tag one. They know they're hanging out in deep sight. That one's going to be on Khan. Very tough opponent to be able to go and grab in the first place. They got this Viper screen now up, and both are down. Gas is depleted. Kaheem, oh boy. This could be the flank of the match, at least for this round. Kaheem from behind, getting rid of Super Glow. No extra antics out of your Cypher. They're going to be able to grab a second, make it a third. No, they have to reload, and that's a big change. Now able to get rid of Khan, and the timer's ticking down.
But there is help. It's gotta be. It's Cade coming through. It was a late lurk off of mid. They thought everyone would be over on site, or maybe at least off window. There just wasn't enough time. Cade allows no survivors Kaho will not have that op, and the last chance to save Breeze, or at least the beginning of the last chance. They have to do it all now. The next 3 need to be SFU, and they don't have much to work with. It's Guardians, Bulldogs, and maybe even a lone Vandal for Kane, unless they want to go with a naked one for Kaho, but that certainly is not in their best interests.
Oh boy. How do you even insert into this? Look how free A is as well. You see Simon Fraser all acting together. They're going to be on B, try and go for this gamble stack to see if they can receive the Spartans and really kind of close in on them, but no. As you get Slayer in a very unique position, they get caught out in a wallbang headshot by John Hamm onto Kane, and now that's going to get rid of a lot of intel. Going straight up into mid. Kaho is at least able to find Kahim, but Super Stu is taken out, and that field commander is lost. Neural Theft will be online, and that's going to be a tailwind. Oh, what a snapshot by Kaho!
Huge plays now, but there's still that Neural Theft. That gives a bit more information. Blades out for Kaho. That's proactive movement. That trapwire is still there, and a few shots. Any damage that could come through against San Jose is necessary. The 2v2, but San Jose will back off, at least for the time being. Perhaps the best move is over toward A, where there's not a trap to be tripped upon.
John Hamm is such a survivor. They've been able to be at the end of so many of these rounds. Previous series and, of course, this one. Simon Fraser. Do they have the better spy v spy mentality? Why Hurry has a slightly better gun. They've been able to pick up a few at least. If they can land these snapshots, maybe they can isolate these duels. They're going to have the Viper Pit. And now this is going to make it even tougher for the Red Leaves. Oh, boy. Split on the other side of Breeze. And you got to know they want to win this one because they just hate that other map. But now they have to make this. And it's going to be a tough venture here, Los.
Wait, cam activated. No, a shot doesn't come through. That would have been monumental. And it feels like the walls are closing in. But a quick right click over onto Y. Hurry isolates it. Another 1v1, but outside of the smoke. You've got the Viper, and John Hamm can't close it out. But is there enough time? There has to be. Simon Fraser, they don't fall, not yet. What a heroic dive by Kaho.
Unreal. Freaking real is Kaho right there. Going through, they know they have to land the right click, chasing down John Hamm, and they had Y Hurry getting pressured. Another big right click play. That one from one Blaze Storm to simply a classic. Whatever munitions you have left in your pocket, because all they've got is pocket change to purchase what they had that previous round. Plenty of cash on the other side for the Spartans. And now 2 ultimates online. You have the Hunter's Fury and you have the Null Command. Los, they turned this one around, but that's only 1 round. They got 2 more to go before OT.
And some ultimates to work with, both the initiators. Got the Null Command. Oh, but let's talk about command. Khan is commanding mid. Kaho, though, playing it quiet, playing it in this little corner, this cubby on mid. And we'll make a commitment, not through elbow. Kaho has to just play a regular defense. They thought they had an advantage, potentially being sneaky, but no! It's not going to be the case. They're stuck behind the wall like everyone else, but breaking through that toxic screen. They're good for 1, but it's all coming down to Stu. They have the defensive capabilities, but caught while setting off the snake bite doesn't look good at all. And this certainly doesn't bode well for Simon Fraser as San Jose close out Breeze in their favor.
You got to feel for Stu on that one. Everyone getting just out-diffed at the very end. And that one, it ended up being both Cade and Khan, your 2 main slayers that come through and really just open up space. Khan had been basically undeterred, being able to take over mid, especially working into that main archway to be able to move into B site. And then even with the adjustments and even with some of the heroics awesomely by Kaho, you just see them still playing their game, taking that quick rush, taking out the util, and then ultimately taking over tower. Hey, that's a good first map. And like we were talking about, splits on the way for that map too. How you feeling right now? Because recency tells me that San Jose is ready to turn this into a 2-0.
Yeah, I'm ready to see more explosive plays off Khan. I know they're ready to go onto that Raze. And Slayer as well, normally going to be rocking in that duelist role, but because of Breeze, that's why we saw them on the KO, and I feel that's much more of a restrained pick. Often you'll find duelists who like to make those plays off of potentially Reyna or Raze. They'll go for the KO when it comes to Breeze, but, you know, they're a bit more chained, they're restricted, they can't be as free as they need to because their utility is so important. So I think that's where we'll find a little bit better plays off of Slayer. But San Jose right now, they are looking absolutely phenomenal, and you can't go wrong picking in to split, especially what we saw with Khan toward the end of that one, and even more John Hamm going absolutely nuts. The aggressive Viper, who would have thought we would have seen it, but it is here today. Attacking Viper, attacking smokes are important, and we'll see how important they last and maybe close things out as we head into split right after this break. Welcome back to the CECC West Qualifier. This is potentially one map away from San Jose State University making their way over to Arlington later this spring. Exciting stuff to see them come out and take Breeze, and now we're heading into their map pick over Simon Fraser University. It's gonna be split.
It's going to be a big one because in recency, again, speak to it because it just happened with the CVAL West of Regional. They got all the way into split. That was a map 4 of that BO5 that was happening over there. It went 13-5 in favor of San Jose State. And guess who? Cade was the main man that was able to make that one happen. So there is some recent practice here, Los. You got to think that you didn't want to go here, at least with a series down. If you are Simon Fraser, how do they pick back up? How do they push into it? Because they know that the mighty monster that is Cade is going to be still staring down at them.
I mean, ultimately it did come down to, it was SFU. They won that series. They denied it all, but they had an extra map to spare. There's no maps to spare here when it comes to split. This is going to be quite a big issue. Cade most likely going to be running on that Reyna, as we could expect, because they want those fast plays. They want to get in. They want to destroy. They want to absolutely annihilate Simon Fraser for a little bit of a, I would say, the insult that they delivered earlier in the day. We'll find out if I'm actually right or totally incorrect. But now... it's up to, really, I'm going to say this again. I'm going to say this one more time. One more time. John Hamm, I think, is going to be the one who comes out because controlling is so important. But also, the big difference here is potentially the controllers that we're seeing here today. John Hamm opting for the Omen. A lot more flexibility and versatility when it comes to attacking and having that movement and being able to make plays for yourself. Well, Glow is going back over to Astra. A nice look, not something that we've seen too much out of Glow, but I'm excited for it. But that also means they're relying a lot more on the other players. Slayer's got to be that one. Kaho has to be the one. It's all about setting up your other teammates for success. And if Slayer and Kaho can step up, I mean, Kaho had 6 opening frags in the previous map. If they could keep up that energy, then this certainly could head over to a sunset for their first ever official on that map.
Yeah, and that could be the sunset that ultimately sends us to end out the day for someone going over to Arlington for the big May Madness that will be bringing both these teams, or at least a chance. Only one team gets to go from the CECC West qualifier. This is pretty much the exact same agent composition that happened all of a couple series ago. So you know that Astra has to be as impactful as it can be, but also you guys can be able to make some impacts with your butts in some chairs. CECC West Regional Qualifier is brought to you by Zip Chair as the official gaming chair for the CECC. So make sure you head on over to zipchair.com to elevate your gaming chair today, and maybe just rest your hiney there and watch some more esports action. So we're going to go into our second map. And Los, this could be a huge decider, very much will be whether or not we're going to go to a map number 3 or if the Spartans will be going over to Texas.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge deal because 2 out of the last, well, actually, any grand finals that San Jose found themselves against Simon Fraser, any grand finals, it's always gone to SFU. San Jose never able to get up to par, never able to really come through when it fully matters. But this is their opportunity. This is the win they could have over the Red Leaves. This is their opportunity, and I think it truly has to start off on the pistol. If you could get off on the right foot after quite a victory that we saw back on Breeze, this is going to be necessary. And if you want to continue the pain from a 13-5 in the last series, this is necessary.
Start with your right foot, and then the left will follow. And hopefully everything else in good tidings will as well. Simon Fraser, great picks already. You're talking about the pistol round being a great pace setter, a trend setter. It could also become. Up in mid, there's also a duel occurring, and Stu outplays Khan. And you know they want to make sure to put Khan in their place. They were so impactful on Breeze just a little bit ago. And Kane is going to bring the pain against Y. Hurry, sit him down early. Very fast pistol.
Oh, I feel like I'm in a Dr. Seuss book right now. What is going on? I love it. But now, great beginnings here for Simon Fraser. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this is a very big deal. If Slayer can get activated, San Jose might be in trouble because we didn't have that opportunity. They were stuck on the KO. They weren't able to make those entry plays. It was all about doing the set pieces for the rest of the team to enact on. And they did that. They sent out the flashes, the 0 points, and they were a necessary part of the team, but not really at the full ability that they could be. They were in KO jail. But now, it's different, Monkey Man.
It's a little different. Tiny bit. But definitely being on a Raze, especially with this kind of map, basically is a Raze playground. You know you want to be able to be flying around. And the biggest thing that we got to see out of Simon Fraser especially, they surrendered round 2 at the beginning of Breeze. A thrifty to begin things off. This is where the Spartans want to isolate this fight. This is exactly where they want to bring it to. And they're actually going to push it out, but no. They know they're trying to advance through that dark cover. Ain't nothing doing. They're going to push them back.
Not a terrible loss, but not having those guiding lights, kind of an issue. So what you sacrifice with this guy is a lot of information and play activation. But here in turn, Con gets a kill of their own. So we're still at a 4v4, but also note the investment of a Marshall, not a completely bare bones anti-eco.
Also seeing your other component kind of fall there. That was just out in mid to kind of poke and prod and keep them honest at least. You're going to have that blast pack. Slayer going to force them away. But that will be yet another successful plant as they're going to try and back this one up. I believe they do have those paint shells, so they're going to activate that from distance and make this one a bit difficult, especially because that Wells Star is going to be there. Oh, a nice tag by Kaho, who continues to hunt heads. That's me another wall bang and Slayer on the cleanup. Everyone getting a piece of the action as Super Glow will finish it off. Dropping only one. It's going to be a healthy bonus coming up.
Good work there for SFU, winning exactly what they needed to do and keeping the composure, because sometimes when you have that quick advantage and you have the weapons that'll shred low shield players, that you might have the tendency to rush into things. But understanding that's the case, and that's exactly what San Jose wants out of SFU, they will allow that. They played it very calm, sprayed through their smokes, did exactly what they needed to, and stopped San Jose at any opportunity that they thought they could present for themselves. But it's rifle time. Here in the bonus, San Jose, nary a aggressive look. Save for, we have Raze here up in A main. It's Con.
Yeah, Con's always looking to get right around some util activation. That camera also going down, so this is going to be about, what, 40 or so seconds before that comes back to him. But this is also just to tease, to just decoy, maybe an A push. You have those stars that can really kind of do the same thing. It's a chess and checker match between these two different types of controllers, especially with the dynamicness that you get out of these dark covers. How far advanced do they want to push in? That's exactly what they're thinking about using the boom bots. It will be going down early, and that's going to press into the Nebula instead to see if they're still buried up top mid. But B has been where we've been chained to here, Los. 50 seconds coming up.
Kane breaks that trap. That's going to be very necessary for the entry up. John Hamm sending out the Paranoia. Doesn't catch anybody, but it's about to be a pinch if that so comes to fruition. Cade is fighting the real battle over on site, but why hurry as well? In tandem, keeping things secure, but it's all boiled down. And Cade is alone, but they are not feeling that way. The pinch is here. And Cade hoping to close it out, or at least give time for John Hamm. John Hamm to finish it off, but no! Kane turns it around for a clutch on the bonus. They'll walk away with another victory.
You've heard of W key warriors, Los? Well, that was D key. They just kept walking to the right, just strafing along, waiting until they could be able to get it. A quick flash, bearing them down, and that is a bonus round complete for the Red Leaves out of Simon Fraser. So suddenly, San Jose, on their buy-up, are put in eco jail, as they will have maybe some Guardians, depending on how they want to aggressively go into this, but otherwise, Sheriffs and some singular point-and-click functions, and they're going to be trying to take it down mid again, but it's been the patience out of the Red Leaves about where they want to hit, and apparently it's been a lot of B, and they've been pretty successful with it.
Relaxation now. No need to get amped up. Go out for a peek. Con will be the first line of contact here with the Guardian, but caught off in that Nebula. It's not going to be the case. Actually, I think that was a recall to block off Cade. Regardless, there's going to be a bit of mayhem in the next few moments, except SFU, they back off. No major commitments over on mid.
We are one agent different of having a full agency of Pokemon Masters. You had the dog. Actually, no, we still need Fade to join us as well. Gecko missing them. But either way, you send out your intel gatherers. Slayer is able to get rid of Cade, and you did say that Slayer was in a rough position. They've obviously been able to get activated. They use that blast pack, and they just feel so much more comfortable here on this Raze. They're going to take over Heaven, And this is pretty much just welcoming to take over the site, but you gotta dodge around Khan, and now they're laid to rest in ropes.
The 1-2 punch, Stu coming in after the initial shots onto Slayer. Didn't make a connection. Stu wants a bit more. John Hamm with a critical shot off the Sheriff. Now, rifles are recoverable, but Slayer doesn't want that. I think they were actually thrown away. So a quick advance of shots to stop anyone from coming through. If they pick up that Phantom, that's going to be an issue. It's got no bullets in it. John Hamm will continue the pressure, going in for a spray, a run and gun to take him down, and that would have worked were it not for Kane. Lying in wait, but in pistols, not too bad, but still 4 rounds down in a row. San Jose, this has to be the moment, Monkey Man, that they get their first victory.
Yeah, this will be a first proper, because the previous one was kind of a staggered situation. But let's kind of check the ult economy, because it's about to get pretty live and loud here, because John Hamm is one away from the shadows. That one not so much. It's gonna be the Empress that may actually find Cade finding a lot of that pressure as they're over in mid. And now we get quick with a Slayer. Is still a couple ticks away from being able to get that showstopper, but they've been stopping the show regardless. Otherwise, they could full control this site probably from that veil beyond the stars. Glow is going to survive initial incursion, but you have a defender way deep. Cade on that swing, and that's a good for 2 for Glow.
Fantastic read off Glow. But now, will they see the third? That had to be Khan attempting to get a shot before that neural theft came through. So they have to deal with it. Not much else to be done. But you've got Slayer circumventing those trap wires. Might just run right in to John Hamm completely with his pants down. And now isolated. It will be a trade and turn. But still, 2 on 4. They did exactly what they needed to.
One off from being able to get that showstopper, and if they can get a pick between the 4 targets they got out there, that may actually turn into a real thing. They're going to use those paint shells, but they're caught from behind, and so it's a 4v1. Why hurry? Stuck looking at the screens and stuck looking at Kane, who has been able to find the final kill in I think the last 3 or so rounds here in the first 5. Simon Fraser find 5 in a row. Again, the ults just begin to grow, and I think San Jose State is really going to need to find something off of those. But man, Los, it's become a situation, and again, they just lose that big rifle.
And we were talking about the previous time that these two stepped into split, and it doesn't mean a lick. Simon Fraser currently have full command and control here on the offensive side. However, it is important to note that San Jose got a majority of their victories in that map on attack. So perhaps defense just isn't their bread and butter when it comes to split. I mean, they still have to survive 7 more rounds before they'll have an attempt of their own. And if they can't hold water, if they can't hold their own here on defense, it doesn't matter.
A lot of util dump, pain shells, as well as the leer, and a quick guiding light. So everything else is going to get consumed. And I like how they've been staying very far back when it comes to down mid, because they're waiting for maybe an overly aggressive raise play, that showstopper online for both sides. They can actually get a multi-kill depending on what they got, but very well to receive are the red leaves. Glow is down checking into main garage, but no one's left their positions. Very disciplined on both sides. You see how spread out the Spartans are. And they actually have a numbers either equal or advantage here as they begin to start pushing that spike. But look, they use the Cosmic Divide to get them to rotate early.
But John Hamm sticking around might be good for 1, but there's too much pressure around Pillar. And that'll be it. Basically, the round is going to be decided here and now. Kaho could have had a bit of misfortune if Cade was able to secure a kill, maybe dismiss away, but it's simply too difficult to overcome this one, especially now that Stu here for the flank. It was expected by Kahim, but what can they do when Stu is simply on one right now?
We trusted in Stu a little bit to be, you know, that same IGL, that sort of commander to really get these guys just calm down in a good state of mind. Kaho getting a bit overly aggressive, and they're going to try and pick up maybe a rifle or at least cause some damage. They're just going to stick around to get taken out by the spike. And you know what? That's going to be Simon Fraser with 6 in a row. you start looking at a timeout. You start looking at the macro game here. I feel like you just start wanting to at least slow the roll, maybe from a macro scale.
Quite interesting. We haven't seen a single timeout throughout the series where, as you said, this would be the opportune moment for that to happen because anything that SJSU is doing, it's simply not working. But also at the same time, I don't feel that they are really doing anything, Monkey Man. They're kind of holding angles and not exactly coming up with a cohesive strategy. The only strategy is to sometimes peek mid, sometimes send out utility to stop them from rushing up. But beyond that, I feel like there's no strong strategy. We've got one from Kaho. It's dash into ropes and make a play post-haste.
With a judge, no less, by the way. So, as they just pressure up in mid, the one time that San Jose wasn't holding it, they find Simon Frazier going deep into ropes. Now, that is a big pick, and Spike is, again, leaned into B, and that's going to be picked up here by Cade. So, that is actually pretty huge for maybe San Jose State to find themselves some purchase. And this is another rifle round. Slayer is going to have this two-man swing to work with. Oh, all of a pixel is going to have that cyber cage go out. Now a showstopper, and they're able to at least get one as they take out their doppelganger.
And now things start to fall apart. Cade gonna send out the Lear a second too late. Stu lands down in hell. Sends Cade there in turn, but now the cavalry is arriving. But the thing is, this is not where the spike is meant to be. Stu is simply going to buy as much time as he can, but I think in a better situation, best case scenario, it'd be to work with Kaho. But that wasn't what was afforded. Being so far away from your teammate with the spike, you just have to let him ride.
Well, Kaho's been a hero before. They made this infinitely easier in 1v2. Make it one, maybe not. 50 HP. They're gonna be swinging them really, really hard. The cloudburst, and they're just getting tracked down. It's a cat and mouse situation. Where do they end up falling out to? A gun throw, just to tease them. Oh, but Khan finds a third, and finally the drought and a drip of water goes over to the side of the Spartans as Simon Frazier don't get to run away with the entirety of it. And just so it's known, that was actually the first death for their Sky that entire time. So that one, Kane finally dying for the first time in 7 rounds.
Wow. Who would have thought he can be killed? It is possible. But, man, Simon Frazier, an incredible run in those first 6 rounds, but I think this is the first time that they had a set piece, and it was to simply hold a stronger angle over on B main. But really, big props to Cade to be able to get those 2 opening picks to slow things down, because that threw SFU for a loop. Also, the change in holds, no one was inside rope, so it left SFU thinking, what exactly do we do now that we're not getting a kill in ropes? But now we have a big opportunity here over on B main.
Slayer seeing John Hamm continue to jump peek, and they're going to throw a dark cover out. They know they're a bit deep into sight, so they're not exactly there, but they don't want to get spammed out now. And again, this has been the beginning of every single chapter for this book that Simon Frazier is trying to write in a comeback novel here for this CECC West Regional. But now becomes a direct duel. John Hamm no longer running. They get a wallbang headshot into Kaho, and Kahim will be able to take out their twin. Cade gets rid of another, but that's a showstopper that finds a double kill as Khan and Kahim will fall. That's huge, but they are separated from Spike in this 1v3. Stu, the lone survivor.
Stu has to, if he wants to play this round out as it should be, he has to go recover that spike, but has to know at the same time there will be players around the corner. Great use of the neural theft. It's got to be Cade, though, to take him down before that information is transferred. If that ultimate goes off, and you have Stu know exactly where the last 2 players are, it could be an easy isolation of the 1v1. And I'm thinking, now we have the strategy, Monkey Man. It's don't go B main if you're Simon Frazier. That's where the major problems are. If Cade and Khan can get activated, then you've got a major issue. But trying to circumvent them and find locations where they aren't, or diffuse the situation with blinds and heavy CC, heavy crowd control to stop them from getting good shots, that's got to be it. We're back to mid now, a winning strategy.
So far. And I mean, this is a conditioning factor here, Los, is that they put Spike just in this position. They are set to receive here down in B or in main or in mid. I keep saying bid. I don't know why. Maybe put out some cash. I don't know. These guys want some cash to be able to go all the way out into Arlington, Texas. But Simon Fraser, they're going to start leaking all the way up, and they're going to put a Nebula out there. It was all of a decoy as well. Khan's going to put some paint shells into the mail room, and hopefully no one was expecting a letter from Grandma because that just got blown up. Slayer on the swing. They're looking for this pick from just Khan and Rafters. That Cloudburst will go up and set up a one-way.
Utility set to clear out stairs, but no one there to receive it. But there will be now. Cade doesn't opt to go up there. In fact, will go through alley. Simon Fraser hoping that they'll have a pretty fast one pulled over San Jose State, but no one's budging. He's still got 2 players covering A. They won't give an inch. And if a single kill is found over by the defense, then Neural Theft can come through, and it is going to be a real big problem for Simon Fraser.
They at least have Kahim dedicated to watching ropes, so that's taken away one of the 2 sight lanes, but they don't know how close they are. Maybe they do. Stu is gonna find a bullet to the dome, and now as the tripwire is there, why hurry? He's just chilling out. Like you said, like you called it, that Neural Theft is online, and it is just taking him down bit by bit, trying to use that Blaze Storm and just surviving out the round. Oh, it's a very feisty Jet, but it's Mikaho that's laid down by Why Hurry with a 3K. Oh, like a fortress of solitude. Ain't no one getting on A side.
And this is a look back to early Breeze San Jose. This is the team that wasn't willing to bite. They weren't so easily swayed by utility being placed on opposite sites to force out a rotation. This is a calm squad, and they're looking that way. They're not budging. They're not making quick reactions. They are taking their time and holding those angles, trusting the team to know exactly when this rotation, when these attacks will actually come through. So 3 in a row here for San Jose. Well, we got an explosive entry potentially from Simon Fraser right now.
Oh, both leaping very deep side. They don't want to give Waiher any kind of chance, and Kaho is taken out, but so is Cade. So massive trades as this bursts onto site. I love that you have the verticality that comes with both your Jet as well as your Rays, because they're just able to leap over the tripwires in question to make sure that this becomes a much more open position. John Hamm is going to use that paranoia, and they want to press through. A lot of blinds coming in. They have to dodge away from the birds, but Stu simply doesn't let them in.
Huge work off Stu, and Slayer with the martyrdom from the grave takes down Khan. Slayer, get an active. This is what I'm talking about. This is what we've been waiting for. Currently the top fragger, previously at the bottom over on Breeze. When you have players that it is necessary to have those flex rolls where you need simply utility to make maps work. But if you have them on their proper rolls, give them the best of their abilities here on Split with the raise off Slayer, this is what you could have happen. Fast plays, fast kills, big victories. Only 2 more rounds left here in the first half, and it's certainly looking like Simon Fraser want to make it a 9-3.
Who knew Slayer was built for killing? I don't know. Could be his namesake. Not sure. Early peaks here by Khan. Again, it's that little West Side Story snapping here out in mid. Who blinks first? They're going to use that Pathfinder, and there's going to be some paint shells for anyone that wants to press behind that Australian dog. Khan just waiting for someone to bite. Oh, the Nebula nearly took off their head, as the bullet nearly did the same as well. But they're playing again as all of a distraction to allow for maybe Khan, or rather Cade here, to get some purchase. But they don't really have the greatest of weapons. They're just trying to be able to pan this one out.
Back to the same old story. Dark cover on mid. Possibly someone lurking within to get an early kill, but Khan not lurking inside. They still have enough of an advantage and secure that early kill. Now Khan wants his second. Paint shell's refreshed, and they'll back away. Huge victory. Not a single trade found.
I like that they swung immediately to try and take out anyone that was in that corner with that showstopper. Good mindset. Oh, Cyber Cage pop. Oh, on the X-ray, and Khan's gonna find a third. Eventually is laid down. But Khan, oh man, it's Kane trying to bring pain. No, why hurry? With only seconds remaining, that's going to be a big win by San Jose as Glow is found in the back line lurking. So now, you were talking earlier about how the Spartans look so much stronger on attack. It's going to be Simon Fraser that really needs to slow their roll, but it's going to be, you know, at a deficit to do so considering their bye, because this could turn into a 5-7 very swiftly before the half turns.
Big ultimates on that neural theft from Simon Fraser. Information is the name of the game, but one play that I think it's worth knowing is why Hurry didn't take the shots over onto Stu when Stu was calling that trapwire on A site, allowed Khan to take that kill so they didn't reveal their position. I think it's a great understanding of calling out shots, calling out plays for the team to pick up. But speaking of picking up, Cade and Khan picking up 2 easy kills here in round number 12.
It's all gone wrong. Trying to dedicate themselves to the ult orb just so they can get that showstopper, making up for a lack of firepower by having a giant ballistic cannon on your shoulder, and that one all goes wrong. The Lear on the other side of a cloudburst, and Kaho is going to be taken out, but Glow will trade 2. This becomes winnable, but a very low situation for Glow. They need to get overhealed. They're very separated from their teammate. Look at this. You have the spike all the way on A, and Kane all the way set to B. They're trying to retreat, and they may get caught by surprise by Khan, but Khan's going to hear them running, so that's good intel.
Great intel. Khan now has the information. You have the rotation. John Hamm's going to be still on B site, so they don't have to get too quick with it. Here's the heal. Oh, Khan. It all went Khan. Super Glow now with the 3K. The Seekers are activated. Information might be the victory notice here. But John Hamm, with the paranoia, stops the entry onto site, and here comes a dark cover, but it's going to be the Cosmic Divide to give entry, but a one-way, no, not a one-way, a slow descent that almost acts like a one-way, but why Hurry is stunned? Superglow has to activate that spike quickly. Only a few more seconds, and they will be guaranteed. No! They're guaranteed a victory regardless, but it comes out of an ace from the Astra.
There is no way Glow just did that. That was beautiful. As they were being healed up by Kane, they come over, they rotate. Khan had all the math being played in front of their eyes, but it was blinding them from what was the prize right in front of them, and Glow took care of business. That one could have been detrimental, but instead, the Red Leaves will be able to blossom one more time. 8-4 to end out this first half, so we flip it all around. You're going to have good entry from both Khan and Cade. This attack, especially you're talking about impactful pistols, this pistol right here can be able to really spin some extra momentum, be able to help them fight back into the second half.
Big guiding light over through B main, but doesn't catch anybody because Super Glow and Stu, they backed off a bit just so they don't get caught out. But here comes a nade that will force those 2 players away all the way into back alley. Sight has been given away to SJSU.
Some mid contention. Kaho is able to get rid of Waihuri, who was hanging out in a very radish lurk position in mid. It was a smart idea. It was sussed out as you had a 2-man swing, so they will come on at least with 1 extra versus this 5v4. But San Jose is already backed up into this cross. And look at the reinsurgency. They actually have 2 out in mid. They're going to try and take over heaven as all of Simon Fraser is set to get this one back on site. Kaho trying to take on this duel, but it's K that finds one. Now with the Devour, maybe a second one. They thought they finished him off, but no! It's all gone wrong. And now it's a 3v1, and they just have to take out Khan. Easier said than done! Are you kidding me? A 4K for Khan from heaven!
Oh my god, I cannot believe that happened. I thought this was all going over with that 3K so necessary at the final moments. Khan has come through and shown that they are not just a pawn. They deserve so many accolades. They deserve all the flowers with a victory like that. It could have been a lot easier if Cade was able to secure that kill over on Takaho, but not realizing the possibility of the armor that was purchased by the Jet. That could have turned the tide, but it wasn't necessary. Now we've got rifles, phantoms, vandals. It's time for SJSU to get revenge.
Oh, man. Moments like these are built by heroes. And they want to try and find ultimate revenge. We've talked about several grand finals where the Spartans just come out the bridesmaid, never the bride. Now they have a chance to really let this one hang loose. Slayer's gonna put out some paint shells to delay them for all of a moment. The paranoia comes in, and Slayer is in a rough position. 30 HP, a right click to see if they can take down anything, but it's gonna be a Pathfinder that lays them down. Khan taking down their twin. And this is basically a free site. Everyone else was just on B.
Takes a village just to remove one Slayer, but they've done it. Site under control, total control, that is. But you've also got 2 players over by ramps waiting for the re-aggression out from heaven.
Full control. 2v2s. This is going to be cleanup city. Why hurry? I don't like Spectres. They're just very unwieldy from distance. But you know what? They're pretty good whenever your combo has a Phantom. And that's Cade with 3. As could be a flawless potential depending on what Glow gets. Right here, nice swing. Oh my goodness, just deck him in the jaw, why don't you? Glow's gonna try and stick nearby here and screens to at least secure themselves. Maybe a dub, no, not quite. John Hamm will bulldog him. And so, it's gonna be a generous bonus working into our 15th round.
Oh, I don't think Why Hurry actually got that Vandal. That was a Vandal just lost to time. Oh, rip, no. It is what it is, Monkey Man. But now, we're here in the bonus. And a judge off Slayer. They are certainly looking to play a rat angle. That's all you can say when you see someone with a judge. They are not playing fair. They don't care. It's all about winning. It's sportsmanship doesn't win championships. You know what I'm saying, Monkey Man? It's also good here at the CECC, by the way.
Yeah. They're here for wins, not to make friends. Or maybe some friends, I don't know. I think that at least a few of them are friends. But this is an aggressive push up into mid. That judge could actually find a lot of value, depending on who ends up going to try and shake hands with him. Instead, though, it's gonna be Glow that is pressured out. They're gonna try and stun someone with a star from deep in outer space, and Kane will get rid of Khan. So far, so good. Kane good for 2. As Simon Fraser really are repelling this attack.
Got Slayer with the judge inside of ropes. Looking to make a shot with the classic because the judge was simply out of reach. Not going to make a connection. Cade has to get a kill here. At least someone has to fall, but no! They're unable to secure anything. Now with simply a Spectre, Why Hurry has to pull this one out of the hat. Doesn't seem to be the case. At least come out with an extra frag. It is the bonus, after all, so this isn't such a critical round.
Stu just waiting for the stars to align. And a Cyber Cage to have a body in it. So, yeah, like you said, this wasn't exactly the most necessary round, but we go to 6-9. After the first 2 are obtained, they get, I think, a gun out of the hands of 1.
It goes here.
And it will be now, actually make it 2, but it will be Simon Fraser who wants to take over what is a pretty healthy round in comparison. You have Kaho that is thinking about what they want to pick up. I'm thinking maybe a Guardian for them, but a Spectre in the hands of Kahim. Otherwise, this is going to be where the major contention comes through, and Glow has been very stout. We're talking about glue, not just Glow, but maybe Glow and Stu put together is the glue that keeps this team together.
Certainly feels that way with the multiple moments that they've come through and given a victory over to Simon Fraser. 3 rounds in between these 2 squads, so it isn't that much of a huge lead. Still plenty of opportunity for San Jose to come back through it all. Showstopper at the ready for Khan, as well as the Empress if they decide to get a little wacky. But based off this, I'm going to take it nice and slow.
A judge still in the hand of this raise. Oh my goodness. Slayer just waiting for anyone to pop goes the weasel. They're going to go onto that rope. Waiting for a second. Oh, but a great shot. They knew Slayer was hanging out in the box and became a hot box quickly as they were getting fried. So now, off of that pick, they can pressure through. They've divided and conquered that showstopper online. Where can they find a Cypher? Hang it out! They don't get a chance to click the mouse. So now Stu, right around the turn, trying to be able to get rid of 1, but Why Hurry defends them well.
It's not over yet. Cade has to walk away with some sort of kill. They need to secure the site, but they do anything but. John Hamm now, again, constantly finding ourselves here with San Jose down in a 1v3. John Hamm isn't out of this one yet, but we might be there soon because there's only 19 seconds left to win a 3K. So that is certainly going to be the case. 10 rounds here for Simon Fraser. They've broken into double digits and extended their lead by 4. Back to the Pauper by John Hamm. Early looks at a hero rifle, which I think certifiably insane.
It's at least a little quirky, a little crazy, but also we're going back to early 2023 Valorant. Look at all the stingers. So here we are, back into what was made a slightly more expensive weapon, but still, I think it's a great bad pocket money situation. So they're gonna try and force
the week
it up.
of Ares Valorant.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh man, shout out back to Ares. Heck of a month. Glow is gonna back up. They're not gonna deal with a whole bunch of 50mm bullets, or make it more like 5. As that Well's actually gonna force Khan to have to re-rotate, but they get caught as they rotate in from defense. And my goodness, Glow is just laying down the law as they grab 4.
Well, that round couldn't be described really as anything but an absolute disaster. It was stingers though, so our expectations weren't that high, but the morale has to be the exact opposite of that. San Jose State University looking map 3 in the face. Sunset just 2 rounds away for Simon Fraser. They are very intent on completely shutting down San Jose in every grand finals that they find themselves in.
Can't quite blame this one on Leighton. No curse to be found. These two teams were destined to go to a game 3 regardless. Cade, they're gonna try and completely sway this boat. You're gonna have all those stars quickly used up, as well as a trade of some paint shells. They're gonna use that Pathfinder to see who's left up here in heaven. Slayer from behind. They got a Frenzy and a Judge because reasons. It's gonna be Super Glow and Stu. They're able to clear out 2 as the plant does at least occur. This Empress is burning in this pocket of Cade.
Got him good with the kill. Potentially an orb if necessary. Cade there for the escape. And they have to play B main because they need to bring support. But with that blind, it is critical. However, the kill still comes through with the spray. It is the crossfire. John Hamm staying alive is of utmost importance. But the shrouded step could not come at a worse time. And it is another retake. A clutch out for Kane, securing the last 2 kills. Simon Fraser, 1 more round away until we're headed to a map 3.
Oh boy. How many times have we seen Kane? Again, it was like the first 6 rounds. They just, well, I guess it took the 7th to actually kill them. But just be the last one playing cleanup. They really do know how to just be able to use their entire team as human shields and just walk right through the disaster zone and then ultimately find this fried. But the Spartans, it is, well, maybe a miracle depending on how this buy kind of runs it out. You have all of it from the shadows that they want to resubmit themselves into different sites. But otherwise, it's gonna just be disaster prone here for Kaho. The Judge with the gavel being slammed down. Oh, blink and you would have missed it. We're going game 3. SFU takes this one 13-6.
Simon Fraser really bringing that one back, denying all the accusations, or at least beating the allegations that Split was not a good map for them, completely blowing us away. Almost a reverse score. It was 13-5 in the previous series, 13-6 for them to come out as the victors. And we're talking Glow all day. How many more times do we have to say it? The glue, as you said early on, those Sentinels, the smokes, certainly coming in, always going to be a major destructive point that San Jose State just couldn't get behind, or at least get around. And one more thing, Slayer woke up, came out as the Rays that we needed them to be.
Yeah, and ultimately they just found themselves not reliant, but also kind of leaning upon both Stu and Glow. I think that they decided, hey, I'm just going to hold down this entry point. I'm going to have a judge, and it's going to be very difficult to get past a barrage of BBs. And then it was Glow and Stu that just were able to dictate how quickly the Spartans were able to run on what was ultimately a really good attack. But they just couldn't get beyond Kane, who was absolutely decimating them at every turn. But I mean, Los, we got one more map to decide who is going to CECC, and it's going to be the sunset of the evening.
That's right. We've got one more map in this best of 3, and we'll head over there just after this quick break, so don't go anywhere. CECC returns after this. And it all comes to this. The CECC West qualifier for Arlington May Madness culminates in a map of Sunset, the debut of SFU here on this map. Never before seen. Scrimbucks don't count.
It's going to be a chance for them to showcase to literally everyone if they even know how to play the map, if they want to play the map, if they can, in fact, punch their ticket to go to the CECC in Arlington, or if they will have to join the LCQ to figure out the leftovers that will be joining everyone else. But the same thing is to be said for San Jose. San Jose, they've been they've played at least a little bit more than this squad has, and I feel like that this is going to be maybe not a full redesign, but I think we're going to be seeing some experimentation going into this. But ultimately, Los, I gotta think of it from this standpoint. San Jose is in a position to do something they've not done before, and that's to actually get a dub in a grand final over the Red Leaves, and that's got to be huge.
You know, just the way you say that feels like, man, rough stuff for San Jose. But the sad truth is that is the truth. They have not been able to get a W over Simon Fraser. Only in that upper bracket finals. Only when it's leading into another fight. Well, this actually is leading into another fight, another event, another matchup. It's leading into CECC finals. This is what matters. It all comes down to this best of 3. Who could win it out here on this tiny, tiny map? And it only makes sense that it ends in the West. It ends in LA for CECC West.
Going all the way out to Sunset to finish it for the entirety of this qualifier. And I like already what I'm seeing. Obviously, Cypher is pretty much king of Sentinels when it comes to this map, especially for the lineups that you get going over onto that B position. Fade, pretty much the same thing. The key difference that we're seeing, at least for right now, as we confirm it there, we are going to have double Initiator versus double Duelist. Cage still sitting pretty on their comfort, that is Reyna, but we're gonna have instead after that a more widespread affair coming from the Fade plus the Breach combination, which I think is really gonna inform this squad whether or not they're gonna be welcome or not, especially because the Swedish man gets pretty darn loud.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, I am curious to see that there hasn't been a Gecko pick. I feel like Gecko has been a pretty nice addition when it comes to Sunset. Yeah. I mean, the map is literally made for him, guys. Please use him on it. That's what it's all about. But no, Fade still having some great command within this game. You know, Fade has definitely taken, I would say, I don't know, maybe a bit more of a back seat when it comes to initiators because you have Gecko and Sky. So it is nice to have her come back and bring those Shadow Nightmare creatures back to life here outside of the dream world. But we're getting things started, and it seems to be a B hit for sure, but it's only going to be Cypher. It's only going to be Kaho rocking in that defense, and they won't even be playing that site proper. It's going to be off market.
It's always really tough to get around the pre-designed positions for some of these tripwires, and that's exactly why you bring these prowlers in the first place, and that's to make it difficult because the initial trap will go onto them, and then it has to reset thereafter. So that's actually why Fade becomes a pivotal choice here to work your way onto B, since it's so difficult to get rid of those tripwires. Now from those off angles, all the distractions, don't be able to find more. Khan isn't good for 2, but Kaho and Kane, much the same. It becomes a 2v1 in the blink of an eye.
Last one alive, spotted by that Prowler at least somewhere on this side of the vicinity. Looking for the option to go around, but no, they stick, make the commitment. Take one down, but Kane is there to clean things off. We saw it happen again, Monkey Man. Not finishing someone off after getting the dink on the Ghost, not realizing that armor is being brought into play, and that can be an issue. We've seen it happen twice where it leads. I think it was Colin this time. Cade back on split, where the pistol round could have gone a different direction if they confirmed those kills.
Are you in the camp of all chat question marking someone for armor on round 1? I need to know. Are you a ghost buyer or are you an armor getter?
I am one of the people that you're questioning right now. I'm an armor getter.
Oh, okay, cool. Same. High five. Let's go.
Armor getter, never forgetter. You know what I'm saying? Come on. I'm eating that pistol shot to the dome, and I don't give a heck. I'm like 50 Cent. Keep shooting at me. I ain't going down.
Too strong to die. Oh, man. San Jose, they're going to try and at least push some of this directly from market, which I think really is a great way to be able to make this site a little bit more uncomfortable, but they're doing so by taking over mid and not pushing anything to B, because they won't have the extra util from those prowlers, because this is now going to be more or less their save round, as you have Simon Fraser and a direct line of fire. Glow. Oh man, he's good for 2, but it takes out 2.
What?
And then Kane turns right around.
Absolutely insane. Now they have better weapons, but will they be lined up? Because Kane has to put them in the dirt. It's got to be a finisher with the Guardian, and that will be the case. But talk about potential, great potential out of San Jose. Almost turned that into a thrifty, but still, the economic damage will be felt by Simon Fraser, certainly in this third round. Now that's rifles for San Jose.
Yeah, they're still going to bonus, but it's going to be a very weak bonus. Sheriffs will be in the hands of the Red Leaves, whereas the Spartans will be able to at least buy up. They caused a lot of eco situations, and Cade, of course, is going to be the main person along with Khan to get to accomplish that. And this feels like Ascent plus Split making a baby about how you have to really kind of take over mid in this situation to be impactful. Khan is caught in just a nightmare, especially off of the grasp, as they are just caught out. But that's because Kane was pushing up so far deep, and they already lose their life and their Guardian.
John Hamm holding it down over on mid, and certainly victory has to be all but assured. It's all coming down to Super Stu, and as much as I love what they've been able to do throughout the series, one man with a Sheriff against 4 players doesn't seem too likely.
I'm gonna hit that. Oh no. Okay, yeah. You're right. Okay, yeah, that pans out. But a weak bonus as it was, an inevitability that came around for the most part as the Spartans grabbed their first. All right, so kind of observing the world for what it is. You obviously have a very good pressure cooker for the Spartans. You have a Raze as well as the Reyna to really run it down hard, and especially for an attack, they'd be able to get that just quick blind, and using those Fade Prowlers to just kind of clear space. Feels like they can really run from this position of advantage, but Simon Fraser feels like they're a much more balanced crew for retake as well as when they eventually get to their attacking half.
Yeah, it seems that both of these compositions, I mean, there's only one off each other, are built for attack, and you can see now that Khan doesn't narrowly get that kill with the showstopper. It's all thanks to a double satchel off the back of Slayer. They escape, but there's still plenty of danger lurking around each corner here on A side, but help has arrived. And help is certainly going to cease in that quick moment.
Just kind of dry peeking their way into the dark cover. This is very near being a flawless, as Why Hurry will infiltrate, and pretty much everyone is expecting where Stu is, and that's exactly what's going to end up being a flawless here for the Spartans. Simon Fraser simply wasn't ready for these hands. I like the early escape, but they simply had an awkward position there, as this was an infiltration from out of elbow onto A, and they really didn't set themselves up for success.
Yeah, most of the movement capabilities from Slayer, they were used just trying to get away from that showstopper, and then they didn't have much utility to break back through the dark covers that were cutting them off from CT. So they thought, well, the only thing I got is my face. Let me check with that.
You know what? Eventually, you learn where the bullets is coming from. And now we have kind of a thrifty situation as Sheriffs and Stingers are getting picked up here by the Red Leaves. Oh, Khan takes out Kane. Kane, haha. A wonderful showcase between those two. But as Simon Fraser gets aggressive on defense, they're just kind of peeking out and letting these picks come out. They know they don't really have the lethality to go against SJSU right now, but they're just kind of going onesie twosies at them.
Slayer, what you got for us? Almost. If there was a stronger commitment off of that ultimate orb, then maybe a kill could have been secured. Kaho thinking, what do I even do right now? And the answer, Monkey Man, is die. That's the only option that you have.
Oh, wow. They can get a 5-piece. Come on. No faith. None.
You're darn tootin' I got no faith. I'm ready to be proven wrong right now. But anytime we've seen a major player disadvantage, it always ends the same way. A flawless victory for SJSU here.
How do you feel about Kaho going to this Cypher position in lieu of what they've been doing on it as a duelist? Because I feel like, I mean, obviously this is kind of a set piece play. People that play Cypher, especially on Sunset, end up having, you know, the best kind of tricky tripwires, but it feels like this kind of runs them away from the lethality we're used to seeing them on.
You know, this is a thing that is constant with Simon Fraser, is that they are a flex team. And Kaho is the flex of all flexes. He will play whatever is necessary, depending on the map. And that's not something you'll find with SJSU, is that they have a much more rigid agent pool. That they'll stick around to what they do, they keep their roles the same, with the exception of Kong going on KO when it's necessary. But that is very much within their playbook. They don't change roles if you're SJSU. They always keep it the same. SFU, willing to do whatever.
Adaptation being king. I'm trying to see where they're going to rotate over to. The Dark Cover is going to be down, and Super Glow is actually just going to lay down some covering fire for anyone. They're going to actually get a blind pick onto Cade. What a player to get rid of, as Prowlers will be exchanged, and so will Nades out into that elbow position. And you have a re-hit by Glow. They can't get the third. Khan will be able to clear them out, and now Kane just kind of waiting for this again from this elbow. Neural Theft will go online, but they're able to get to it before all of the data and all that extra intel comes right around. John Hamm very hurt. They're able to get a wallbang headshot, but then cleared by Kane. It becomes a 1v3, and the 1v numbers game has not come out the better for most. They at least get one. Why hurry? Clears out Kane. And now becomes Spy v Spy. Kaho in the way. And they're going to take the day and make this 1-3-3.
Absolute madness toward the end. A phantom moment, but still kill secured. Was a much closer situation that we're finding ourselves in here on Sunset. SJSU woken up. SFU feeling about the same, wiping the sand out their eyes.
There.
It's time for them to get going, and specifically get going is Slayer, who yet to secure a kill, but I think that's certainly about to change now with the operator in hand.
No one's going to directly peek them, so they may actually adjust out of this position. Just a decoy from Kaho to key up that someone's there, at least kind of tickling at the idea to attack. That operator's going to have a great sight line. Oh, Glow! They're going to think the TP away, but they're going to just chill for a second. Getting rid of Khan. What a pick. And already the Spartans in a bad situation.
Low wants another. Low might get it, but realizing that's way too risky of a maneuver and no one's there to trade me, thinks better in and holds a position that's much more defendable with the rest of the squad. And Cade, thinking that they had command of the situation, gets gunned down by Stu.
Why Hurry throws a cyber cage out just in case anyone wants to get tricky with it and get too aggressive. Kahim is going to dodge a paranoia, and that's going to be the spike dropping. Now Kahim having to wait out where this corner defense is, and they're in a 1v5. No one's been able to flawless, or rather, been able to beat out the flawless at this point, and another flawless will be found, but this time around, it's going to be the red leaves, as they're going to send 2 in a row against the Spartans. That's good looks for their bounce back.
It seems that now we're finding SJSU get a little bit flustered and not having full attacks and full coordinated set pieces, where there are bits and pieces that seem that they should come together, but if someone falls, you know, which happens quite early due to specific looks, I believe it was Kane in the previous round holding it down, or Super Glow rather, but getting those early picks is incredibly detrimental to their opening attack, so we're never really getting the great opportunity, the great look that should be coming out of San Jose when it comes to attacking a site, so things feel half-baked. But that's because we're missing the ingredients.
See if they'll go to the store, pick up a little bit of seasoning, at least make what they do have taste a bit better than it does right now. Marketplace seems to be a primary hit at this point. Kaho is going to see that Nightfall get pushed in, and they have retreated all the way back here to back inside. But counter Nightfall will be used. That's what happens when you got a couple of fades. Everything just is down and dark. Gonna try and burst their way on, and they will lose this duel from distance. But Slayer is such a weird position with his operator.
He's doing just fine. Still hasn't lost it yet. But the thing is, they're still down one player. If Kane can equalize the tide, or maybe even make it better with a fourth, no, a third. But they are losing their minds. When things don't go the way for San Jose, they simply decide to just run away, Monkey Man. If they don't have exactly what they need to explode onto site, they just give it up and go for a rotation, or at least make a much more rash play, and that's not what we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing this team be very calm under the pressure, realizing the situation, taking proper stock of what's going on, and acting accordingly. This more feels like someone dies and another person says, "Run!" and they all do it.
Sounds like my silver lobby, just literally today. Oh, they got us. Rotate. I totally get it, but you sometimes got to stick to your guns, or at least for a moment. Operator is at least gonna be shown that is very well, or at least defending a sightline for entry. Gonna get caught out. Slayer finally getting on the board. That's their first kill in the entirety of these first 9 rounds. Looking for one extra. Gonna reposition, come off low from the bulletin board, and just looking for some picks as they're gonna go off and reload. They're actually gonna get pressured here as Why Hurry is right around mid door to market, and they're gonna catch them lurking.
Incredibly necessary, but that's got to be a more secure position from Why Hurry. They need to stop the defusal. Did they get hit with that? I don't know. The paranoia came through, but the defusal has been stopped. Shots out from B main have secured this round, or at least they should have. Super Glow with 1. Gonna need 2 more if they want to come out with the victory. There still is a bit of time, but no time after John Hamm makes a successful peek. A 2-piece off of them, just shooting through those smokes.
I don't believe anyone picked up that operator. I don't think anyone really wants it. Not really an agent to kind of hyper materialize it in a great way. So that's a good look to stop the bleeding. Both teams trading 3 in a row as Spartans, they committed suicide that time. They didn't suddenly have one pick go down and then just kind of, you know, become confetti in a rotation. They decided to just calm down, take stock, and move through. They're gonna try the same thing here. It's a one-man hold. It is literally a Cypher versus the world. You have a tripwire set up and a fault line to try and protect them as everyone from the red leaves comes surging over.
Oh no, God has the showstopper, but that trap wire stops them from doing anything. A showstopper versus showstopper battle of the bands. It's going to be Simon Fraser coming out on top, and everything seems to be falling apart, but John Hamm doesn't want to let it go just yet. And it's a 1v1. Kahim with 46 HP has to defend this spike. A shrouded step into nowhere, just a fake out, but they know the information is there. It's all about dancing around this pillar, and Glow sends out a few shots into the ether, but now they don't have the correct angle. It's up to Keep it. The flick off of Glow is just too quick. The pinpoint shot to the dome of Kahim gives SFU their 6th round win.
Oh boy. You know what, we're really starting to see an identity here, at least defensively, for Simon Fraser. We talk about Sunset being kind of a new entourage for them to observe, and it seems like they're very comfortable about it. This is something that San Jose hasn't been able to see any war room tape, how to take down what is basically their faded rival for here out in the West. And now they're getting a few looks. I do wonder how the defense will kind of stand up for the Spartans, but Simon Fraser has been very measured, and it's been Glow and Kane, 2 mainstays, really keeping this ship running in the right direction. Kaho is getting tagged by that cam, but they're gonna have to just mosey on out.
No need to stick around when you've got the rest of your team running in tow. Not much ultimate, so actually really none that can help them initially in this situation. The Neural Theft will be very useful if Khan falls here, but no, Khan's gonna get a kill, but then they will be traded. Neural Theft on the rise, and that 1 kill allowed the Nightfall to come through. Another peek, but Kane does not relent. They will continue now. The Neural Theft comes through, and it will be an assault back onto site. Last players hiding inside of B main with the smoke. Now they could just SFU's hidden within the cover.
He's gonna stick it. Oh, but it's down to half. You have the 2v1. Will they be able to get through this spam? Not quite! Oh, it was so darn close. And yet so far. San Jose stays within striking distance. And look at the situation we find. The red leaves in here, Los, is that Simon Frazier doesn't exactly have a great buy. And we could very well be seeing ourselves go 6-6. You know, I said it wasn't Layton's fault earlier. We could be seeing OT if these two teams stay as tight as they are.
You know, big shout out Layton for this banger of a series.
Mm-hmm.
But now, final round of the first half. More tools in the hands of SJSU. They've got the Empress. They've got that's from the shadows. Just for a little bit of extra information gathering, if they so choose. But this is the slowest look that we've seen from SJSU, I would say, so far this half.
Finally changing up the pace. I don't mind it. Honestly, if you've been kind of running it down, why not play for a pick or so? Be out here in mid for the 5, as you basically have a living sentry turret in the way of Khan. Empress will get popped. That's going to be your primary ultimate to go online. Glow has been hanging out in this corner. You have a Prowler and you have an ultimate, and it's going to be running its way straight through the body of Glow. That's one picked up by Cade.
Kane here. The box is going to have a bit of an issue. The Stinger, it's going to sing, but it's not going to deliver any kills. And when you have this delayed explosion onto site, you get great results. A flawless round off of San Jose to make this a 6-6 half.
3 of their 6 rounds that they got to win of the first half were in fact flawless. They absolutely took advantage of the economic difference sitting in the back pockets of these two teams. So now we flip it all the way around. Get to see what we can get out of this double initiator versus double duelist. And obviously, you get some very loud initiation off of the breach. And I think Kane is going to be able to help out to give Slayer much more confidence to go forward. And Kaho is kind of trapped in a weird situation. You know, free Kaho. They're on more of a set piece agent like you spoke of in the KO indifference on Breeze. So now they got to fulfill this, but got to see what they can do up for these post-plant situations. Really got to take care of that anti-lurk if we're going to get flanked.
Double up in tiles, but it'll have to be a long lurk coming out of San Jose. They won't be there in time. This is a freebie going on to site. SFU will take this bike plant, and everyone can spray through B main.
They got in, they got out, they got on with their lives. They don't want to be there at all. 5v5 retake. San Jose is going to have to go and get a fist fight, as they're just going to spam through with classics. And John Hamm may just hold it. They put the blast bag out there. They're just going to go right back for it. And they're just body blocking. Oh my goodness, it's a wall of Spartans. And they defended John Hamm well.
SFU thought they could hang over in B main, but SJSU, they said no. We'll protect our friends with our meat. The meat shield came through, and it allowed an easy defusal for John Hamm. They'll get this first round, but SFU doesn't want to give that away. They don't want to give an early lead over to their opponents over at San Jose. It's Stinger time, baby, and they're going to do it all over again. Quick rush into B, fast as you can be. Or quietly.
You know, slow. And then fast. As soon as you throw a util. Gonna run it down one more time. But on top of the billboard, hey, it's gonna be a sign to your death. That one's gonna be Why Hurry, now taken in and out by Super Stu. And that's a great setup now. It was a 5v5 last time when it was just pistols. And this time around, no phalanx formation to protect John Hamm, and instead, we have 3v4. They're gonna try and pick up some weapons. Cade laid out, and Stingers are just so good.
What nerf. Well, now we've got a bit of a problem. John Hamm, leading the charge, has to swing out from Market, and they will secure the kill, but they only have 2 HP. This is gonna be a problem. 1 bullet from that Stinger, even at range, was all they needed. And SFU, they're back in it. The gamble paid off. San Jose, they're going to be dealing with a serious economic problem. The richest of them all currently, Monkey Man, has got a cool 2,600.
Oh, man. That's enough for I guess maybe a circus ticket. I don't know. Do you think they come to this this side of LA? I don't know. I've heard that there's been gunshots, you know, allegedly. But what not just a gamble. What a decision by SFU as they decided to just straight up go into the face of the Spartans and decided not shy away. And they're just running it down again. So far, it's been B. It's been B. It's, guess what? Been B. And they're going to go straight for this fight. But Khan catches Slayer by surprise. Same against Kaho. 3K for the Sheriff.
They've been finally put down by Stu. Yet they haven't afforded much. That purchase of that entry on the site still doesn't give them security. Spike has been planted. And Cade with a two-piece off the Sheriff. What a comeback. What a thrifty for San Jose. Striking right back with gambles. Or really not gambles. Actually, no, it was. Because they didn't have too many funds. And investing into those Sheriffs, still, 800 credits doesn't seem like a lot. But when you're so low, that might put you into Half Shields territory. That might put you into Spectre Shields territory. Bulldog, maybe. You're still making a risk and taking one by making that purchase. But it came out so well, thanks to Khan and Cade.
Are we doing it again? Are we running it back, lads? It looks like we're at least getting a few buys. It's not as uniform as it was a round or so ago, but it is still going to be at least a couple of buys. But San Jose is in a much stronger position. Gonna tag one. Now you're going to have the Han go out. Another flash as well, but they aren't exactly able to fight these from distance, and that's why Hurry's going to take advantage of. Both they and Khan are able to grab a couple of great picks, and they've already just laid this into two remaining. A very hurt Raze stuck with a spike. They're basically just trying to find what kind of shots they can get from distance, but they don't have the weaponry to really find success here.
Looks like that was a final goodbye before swinging into death. Another flawless round. How many flawlesses have we seen just in this map, Monkey Man? I think if we got a counter, probably like 6?
It's at least 5. You had 3 in the first half by SGSU. They just got a 4th one here, and then a 5th one at minimum for Simon Frazier. So we could be at 6. I've at least seen or remember 5. Boomer brain.
Bold of me to assume such a high number if it really is 5, but regardless, now we're getting a little more crazy. Time for the Rolling Thunder kick things off on A site. The unfortunate part is no one's actually there to get hit by it. It is a 4-stack on B site.
Maybe they'll think about it. They'll confirm numbers. Nope. They won't confirm anything. Nope, not at all. Nope. Oh,
And it still hits!
They hit him at the very edge of it. Just a little bit of overstepping. But you know what? Least amount of damage possible. Now becomes another 5v5. Oh, but why hurry with a great pick on the Slayer. And now the showstopper pops out.
Cade completely clear sight. The Lear doesn't get anything, but they will in turn. It's up to Kane to just tap down. They found at least one, but the rest of the crew from SJSU knock it out of the park. Good entry from Simon Fraser, but the problem was there was no one really on site, but still commendable. Good usage of utility and allowed them to get on there, but the backhand in terms of that retake from San Jose, simply phenomenal.
I like that they didn't allow any time for Simon Frazier to really set up into a post-plant defense. They just went right after it. Oh, your Rolling Thunder's done? Cool. We're gonna go into the wasteland that you left behind, and we're gonna rebuild, and we're gonna take away that spike that you just laid out. So the magical 10 number, as double digits has been acquired by SGSU, and that's gonna begin kind of this mental warfare against Simon Frazier. They have to stay measured. They have to not overcommit into some of these positions, as they're actually welcoming an aggressive defense, and you're going to have a triple swing here out from B main. It's going to be a big flash. Cade is waiting to try and counter Lear. That's a couple of great finds by Kaho and Slayer.
This may be completely cooked, but actually no, John Hamm coming out with potentially a 4K. No, has to reload. Shrouded step over into the dark cover, so they reposition. Doesn't matter that it's a 1v2. Now they have the perfect opportunity, but it's got to be a realization. Kaho has to know, and now that Haunt is going to all but confirm it. Backing off John Hamm. Still isn't being caught in a crossfire. Prowler around the corner, and still they survive only a few seconds more. This is just a thrifty game, isn't it? Constant eco buys are overcoming the real rifles.
We started the first half with flawlesses, and we're going into the second half with thrifties. It's kind of crazy how this has been in just an ebb and flow, but it is still currently the Spartans in a place of minor advantage, at least with 2 rounds ahead. But it's gonna be another big rifle round. You do have the Showstopper and Nightfall online for Simon Fraser. And then from the shadows on both sides if they want to reconvene in different places. The Slayer, oh boy, trying to at least tell the Spartans to back off. But both raises are here out in mid. I wonder if we're going to have maybe a fortuitous duel, especially as Khan begins to go all the way up into A main. Let's see what he finds on this swing.
Clean. Precise. Well executed. I think this is the first time we've actually had a lurk through tiles. It's normally been a pinch that would come around from B main, but it's not even that much of a pinch. It's just holding it down, securing on mid. But now there will be a strike back. I'm curious to see how Khan can continue to hold that position. And Slayer's going to be potentially that first look, but no. They back off, Monkey Men. They don't want the smoke.
Not quite. They do have one tripwire right in front of them. It's about how quickly they take this. The Cyber Cage goes up. They plant deep in the corner. They're going to go look in the box. And Kaho knows the best that at least something is lingering around here. Showstopper gets put online. Slayer is defending the Pride with a giant boomstick. And they know Yuri's right in front of them. And though they are able to at least confirm one, Khan's going to try and swing up into it. But you do have a couple tagged up by this Nightfall. So now SJSU just pushing through, and everyone's all deafened to the situation. Slayer's gonna back up. They're gonna put some paint shells out, and they actually force them to step straight into their gun sights. Clutch up by Slayer. They're now within 1.
Excellent zoning from Slayer, using the paint shells to force Kahim to run up, move out of position, because if they didn't swap to a piece of utility or a knife to get out of the way, the nade would have done way too much damage and killed them regardless. Follow that up with the blast pack, creating a wider swing angle that's completely unsuspected. It's the recipe for disaster, or perhaps perfection for Simon Fraser.
And cooking something up, though. As SJSU now is going to buy back into this situation, but they're kind of stuck in the cycle of suck. As they've been really trying to play catch-up between some of these thrifties. Now, that's been working out before. Simon Fraser knocking at the door again, an aggressive take. They want to get that ult orb, I think, into the back pocket of Kahim. More so on Zacade. Kind of this jiggle pig situation is at least looking at A, but I like that they leave one way over into B. Both as a flank watch, but also just to see if they can get maybe a pick to swing into. The Prowler's gonna be used. Slayer gonna try and pop their way in. They do get a little bit blinded. Have paint shells online, but they're gonna get double swung as they're very deep in elbow.
Oh my god. Cade not giving up yet. Here's a close leer. Will that actually come through? Yes, the dismiss to escape. A perfect usage. And now it's all left to Glow, who certainly can't come out of here with a victory, already being tagged down. Nade to stop them in their tracks. Perfect utility in conjunction, but we gotta give it up again. Talking about Cade. Cade, when you put this player in a corner, we saw it all the way back on Breeze behind the pyramids over on A site. When you put them in a corner, when you give them Empress, no less, that is when they can truly turn up, hold their position, stop a push, because if Cade falls there, that opens up elbow for the rest of Simon Fraser. They can run through. They can expand onto site. There's a lot more capabilities for the attacking team if they take down this one Reyna. And we've seen it multiple times. Putting Cade in that position, they will rise up. And when they do, your team is doomed.
And off of that loss, you get to see how Simon Fraser finally has taken stock of the macro game. It took 62 rounds, Los, between the first 2 maps and where we stand right now on map number 3 for us to finally try to calm things down from a very disruptive place, and that's for this timeout. To be able to, to tell everyone, hey, we need to be able to make sure we find our picks. Don't get outplayed by a single person. This is for the CECC West. We want to qualify into this one. And they're also picking where they want to go for this buy, because if they buy 4 next, they're basically giving up this situation, and the Spartans are going to be in such a place of advantage. They're 12th and maybe series point to be right around the corner. Let's see how the Red Leaves are able to bring this out.
Messy buy. Scatter rifles, 2 sheriffs over here for Simon Fraser. But they need it. They can't allow San Jose to get to that map at series point. They cannot allow it. The thought of it is simply unthinkable. Slowed it down. It's what we've seen a lot of back on Split. They were capable of taking their time. We'll see once again, but huge haunt. I guess a miscommunication of who was to take that shot. Get some info, but no one's going to make a move off it yet. Remember, calm San Jose State is the best San Jose State. No rotations.
Sit inside the castle you've made. You have the moat. You got the trenches. You have your lineups. Everything's set in order for San Jose to receive wherever this is going to go. It's a 4-1 split right now. They want to see if they can find any kind of aggressive pick. A Prowler is getting sent out. They know at least someone's hanging out to elbow, and that's all to trick them, maybe to get an early rotation. But it's actually going to be a crash. They're going to be moving through. Try to get Yuri out of position as they get in, but Yuri is able to get rid of Slayer. And now they're just trying to confirm the plant. They get a blast pack, maybe a second blast pack just to get them out of that plant. Still happens from right around this mid tower. You have one out in mid courtyard. Khan right around the corner gets rid of Glow, but now they're gonna double swing. They get taken out. Kane and Kaho able to survive, and that's all of Cade left to take down this 1v2 as they see him right around tower again.
1 kill is all he needs. If he could activate that Devour, that Drain, it's not necessary. It doesn't matter. Even if they secured it, Kaho got the headshot. And they kept it together. Simon Fraser not done yet. They will not be defeated so easily. They will take it all the way, overtime if necessary. They want to keep this momentum rolling. And hopefully it doesn't come to it. Stingers now in the inventories of San Jose.
It ain't over yet, baby. This is what you love to see. Oh man, both sides inching their way. Just so close to finding that first chair. Especially from the west, to be able to make their way into Arlington for Made Madness. Cade looking for one. Slayer instead will get rid of Ghosty Boy. John Hamm not to be a final survivor, but Cade eventually gets that trade. Great headshot. Blow for blow. They have the weaker buy in this situation. But are they going to commit to this one? They did get a pick. It becomes a 4v4, but Cade still has the Vandal. Trying to be able to win this from distance. They just peek him one at a time. Kahim, no, everyone falling like dominoes one after the other. Cause and effect, 2v2.
Now the rotation is here. Strategy has been realized, but no plans. No activation. 50 seconds left. No, they wouldn't be waiting this out in hopes that there's a re-rotation. Khan is sitting in spawn, waiting for any idea of what's to come. It is going to be a rotation through mid? Through connector? What is this madness?
They may be outplaying themselves here. They're waiting to make sure they can get rid of whomever is at least lurking nearby to confirm that this site is completely clear, but they don't recognize what advantage they do have. Yuri is going to try and press up into it. That dark cover will be down. Now it's about how they hold this. Yuri doesn't have a great weapon, so this technically should be very winnable for Simon Fraser. They have to really act off of what Khan can get from these paint shells. Yuri all the way up into this topside corner. They catch him looking, becomes a 1v1. Showstopper gets used, and that's actually going to be a defuse. Oh my goodness, the paint shells did work. Oh my goodness, Los. The thrifty. This entire half has just been littered with them.
Another one coming through. This was SFU's round to win. They had the best opportunity. They had the tools to make it happen, but just a case of patience from Why Hurry, sticking in that corner, waiting, realizing they're taking way too long to make a hit over on B. They're taking way too long to have a plant on here. This has to be a fake within fakes within fakes within fakes, but it was seen through the true sight of Why Hurry and SJSU. They are on a map and series point. 3 grand finals. They've lost to Simon Fraser University. It will not be a 4th.
Oh, they're going to very much try. There's still hope on the horizon. We have seen both these teams at deficits able to fight back, but it's going to boil down to the next 75 seconds. SJSU has been able to execute very finely, and they have numbers planted over here on B. You're going to have a dark cover also to separate Simon Fraser and these Red Leaves from being able to press on in. They do have mid under control. The weaker site right now is actually A contention. I wonder if they're going to be able to get that read. It looks like they're going to commit the Nightfall to this position, and away they go.
Falls through, but holding fast to San Jose. Khan doesn't give up the position yet. They're over in Boba, but it's up to Why Hurry to stay alive. They will fall, but it's still the information gained. Cade and crew stuck in Boba, but now they will make their exit with the Nightfall. That's going to give them all the information they need. It comes down to smokes. But Cade has an understanding, or at least they should have, based off of the foot trail. And that should have allowed them to realize where Glow was hiding. But now we have John Hamm in the 1v3.
Ooh, Kane is going to use that grass, and what a great combo. Kaho brings out the Monkey King. And that gives them one extra chance. One last gasp. San Jose State is a round win away from moving on as the West representative to CECC. But Simon Fraser simply will not make it easy. Everyone is either even 500 or less, and yet the scrappy nature of the Red Leaves simply fights on.
Early sent out with the fault line. Nothing to gain. Utility expended. We got an early peek out of Khan. Oh, they have to back up. Thankfully, it was a wall bang, so that headshot from the Vandal will not be fatal, but it certainly is going to spell disaster later in the round if a single bullet even whizzes past them.
On this engage, if anyone will come up deep, you do have that neural theft, maybe get used, a showstopper that doesn't want to stay unused here by Slayer. Even a single pick will be enough. They don't have to find the entire team with it. Not a multi-kill. This ain't Halo. You're simply looking for someone to get taken off the map, and they would love to get rid of the Cypher that kind of lingers here. Yuri, his camera, pretty OP. It covers 2 separate entryways. In a great position. Cade is looking to take on who they can find. That's going to be, whoa, flashpoint. Cade now gets rid of Cade. Showstopper coming out. Can they find at least one? They do get him, and that's going to be a huge pick. It becomes a 3v5.
All culminates to this, a late advance, but the plan is still secured. Slayer now might get a little bit too carried away if they decide to push into market. Use of that from the shadows to get the information. 2 players inside of Boba. They know it now. 1 bullet into the player in market, and that's all it'll take. Slayer wants to stick around, bait them for the rest of the team, but they will not be bait. They will be the predator. They are the shark. Slayer does not give up yet. A 3K for them. Nades refreshed. A swing around the corner. They will fall, but it's still a 1v4. John Hamm has to win it all, but they cannot. And Simon Fraser claw their way into overtime.
All right. We're in OT, having to win 3 of the last 4 rounds. In fact, having to win 5 of the last 7 just to fight their way in a position where they got it. Simon Fraser Never say die, even when dropping into that deficit. And guess what? We're in overtime. We're absolutely seeing these two go to the limit. And Los, I mean, couldn't really have it any other way. Both these titans of the West really putting on their best in a big showcase. I gotta wonder if it's gonna come down to just a share of defensive wins. I feel like we've really been able to see everything and more from these squads, who's just really had that gut check moment to really lead from the front.
Quick usage of utility. Wow. 4 pieces expended right in that one moment. Oh my god.
So much.
This is a strong showcase in mid. 4 players from SJSU. They will be blocked off one way in the dark cover. I'm not sure who that's for. Yeah, no, SFU sent that out to block anyone, dissuade them from advancing further. Now all 5 players back in tiles. It's going to be up to Glow to hold off this defense. The one-way's got... It can't come any sooner. Whew.
They have sussed out where Glow is. This is Glow's favorite spot to be, and so they're going to back on up. They're going to play for life. Going to make sure they don't get threatened any further, and then be on top of this double box. Kane, use that haunt. Ready just for anyone that's running it through, but this is a much safer position here from Elbow. Khan is going to use those paint shells. The paranoia coming on in, and actually that's a great position, but John Hamm is going to get him before they can. A wall bang by Kane gets rid of John Hamm on that turn. So the Spartans still trying for insurgency. They're going to plant into that corner box, and Yuri is going to play off of the anti-flank. See what they can find here. They at least get one, and that's going to be a position of advantage here for the Spartans.
On. Holding angles. It's got to come down to the Spartans just being able to defend from this position. But can they? The swings off of Slayer and Kaho are just too deadly. A 1v1 on Kane. Not going to make the commitment. Realizes there's plenty of time to secure the shot, and off the 3K. Kane will win it. One more round for Simon Fraser, and they go 3 for 3 against San Jose.
King Kane, always the last one left for the squad, and they're dusting off the seat of their throne, but they're not sitting in it yet, as now Simon Fraser, after all of that comeback, need to win one more time to try and win the West. San Jose, they've let this squad come back after having them in a 12-9 venture. They weren't able to get it done. So the job is going to be that much more difficult. Super Glow waiting on anyone to get aggressive, but you got to think that these guys are not going to be playing overly confrontational. They're going to be waiting for some of these pick positions. Oh, but Glow still finds Cade coming up a step too far.
Cade wanted it to get that possession of B main, but they've lost it all now. No one will make the same mistake. You can see the rest of San Jose playing it quite far back, almost CT for both sides. A little bit of mid-action from Kahim there. No one wants to make any commitments. Another pick like that, and we could basically call this one a day. Simon Fraser can walk out with a victory.
History aiming to repeat itself far too many times for the Spartans' comfort, and yet red leaves will fall for the change of seasons. Simon Fraser is trying to make sure this is their winning season. SJSU very far deep back in this B section, but they've actually traded positions where they have Yuri. Now they're going to crash on in. So much util. They're going to try and get away from it. The fault line goes through. They're going to use an aftershock, but Slayer is able to get one. Oh, with Kaho with another one. Khan laid out in a 3v2. Los is up to Kahim and the gang to be able to fight back. Yuri has to reassemble with him.
This looks like a mess, but it's not over yet. Kaho seriously damaged. One shot into their body could spell it. I realize someone's got to be around the corner. It starts with Yuri. A great shot onto Super Glow. Simple spams. Keep this game alive. Super Stu. Can he make a super play and come through market? It was a fake. It was just a tap. A tap. Hoping for a look. And there's the look. Not where they expected. Fault line out. Will it be committed? Yes! Jumped off the spike, but it's already been halved. Super Stu has to play this game of cat and mouse. The dance back and forth, running down the clock, but they don't need to run it down. Super Stu clutches it out, and Simon Fraser in the reverse sweep go back to back to back in grand finals and defeat San Jose State University for the third time.
Wow. Congratulations going over to Simon Fraser as they take it in singular OT 14-12, and they will be the West CECC representative to go to May Madness here in just another couple short months. Los, what a fight. What a series. These two teams, I think they've played each other enough. I think it's time for them to rest, but a heck of a job for them to be able to put on a show today after just playing each other, 3 or 4 short hours ago, and still redesigning and redefining the way they want to perform in front of us today.
And keep in mind, that was the first ever official on Sunset that we've seen from Simon Fraser. San Jose, they've had a few runs, a few games over on that map, but it's nothing that we've seen too much of. This was completely unknown. We had no idea what to expect, but I mean, we actually did. It had to be the group. It had to be Kane and Glow stepping up together in just phenomenal ways. We've seen them be consistent throughout the whole series, and that's the number one thing when it comes to Kane, is that they will always be in the upper echelon of their team. They will always be near the top of the leaderboard. A consistent player is something that every squad needs. Simon Fraser has that within Kane, and congratulations. It's something that you definitely need. The entire team has stepped up, and, especially Slayer over on Breeze. Not exactly the best showing, but once you swap over to the Rays, even the utility placement, everything about what they could do shines much brighter when they have that adjustment.
Oh, yeah. And this is a team about adaptation and being able to overcome. And we're going to be able to talk to them all about that. That was a marathon for us, and I think it was for them. And, of course, they want to be able to tell us all about how they got a couple of dubs over the Spartans today. But we're going to take a short break before we get to do that as we go over into an interview. You're going to stick with us. Esports U. We'll be right back right after this.
Welcome back to the CECC Regional West qualifiers, and it had to be a best of three, didn't it? It had to go the distance with Simon Fraser University coming out on top, finally in Sunset, the first time they ever played that. And now to tell us all about it, joining us is Slayer.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, man. You did it. This is the third time that you've gone up against SJSU in a grand final. Can you kind of tell me what that relationship with that squad is like?
You know, SJSU, they're a good bunch of guys, and they're great players. And it is every time we play against them, it's always a close series. Every time. It's never been easy. And
you guys continue to see them all the time. I want to know personally, do you also scrim them on the side? Is there just like, hey, we're just going to play each other because we know we're just going to be the grand finals regardless? Do you do this even more than just these tournaments?
you know, the one time we scrimmed them, it was a 9 a.m. scrim about a couple months back, and they dropped 40 on us at 9 a.m., so we haven't really scrimmed them since. But
Okay, so you hit a few things
Yeah.
in the back corridor, and especially they kind of hit you, I'd say. We saw that first map. You went to KO jail, hung out over there. You finally got to sit yourself into a much more comfortable raise. Did you feel like you're able to kind of really travel along with your squad in a big way, go between Stu, Glow? How was the team feeling as they had to bounce back from Breeze into map number 2?
I think everyone was kind of getting pretty tired, but we all kept a good mental. We all got our energy up, and we were able to keep playing at our best, even though we had a bad first map.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, and this was the first time that we've seen an official Sunset matchup from y'all. What were you thinking going into this?
You know what?
Were there any nerves?
Kaho decided that he wasn't going to ban Sunset until the very last map, and then didn't ban Sunset. So the option was between Ascent and Sunset for SJSU, and we had played them on Ascent in the best of 5 in previous match, and they decided to go with Sunset. So we were all just kind of pugging out Sunset, and it was a pretty close game.
Certainly. But
Wow.
you came through. You did it. You made it to the qualifiers. How do you feel that you're going to Arlington?
Honestly, it feels great. I've never been to a LAN, and I don't think a lot of my teammates have, so I think everyone's really excited to go and play our best, show ourselves out.
Amazing job, man. You guys really do deserve it. Los, I think these guys deserve some shout-outs, right? I think.
I mean, come on. Slayer, Simon Fraser University, Pink. The floor is yours, my man. Talk that talk. Shout out whoever you want, and give us something to be excited about come May.
Don't really got no one to shout out. Shout out our managers. Shout out the team. Everyone did great. Our manager set everything up for us, and we're gonna win.
Well, congratulations, Slayer. We'll see you there.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
And that's going to wrap it up for us here tonight over at Esports U. A full day of collegiate esports, and we had to close it out on a full BO3. Thank you so much for joining us through the entire day, whether it was Rocket League, Smash, Overwatch, or my personal favorite, Valorant. But we'd love to have you here. My name is Carl Savan, joined by Hail Monkey Man. Thank you for joining us, and have a good night.